It's a year of firsts for the HTL Cup Series, and another first coming tonight here in the heart of the land of the rising sun. We are in Japan for the HTL Cup Series, where we are going live from Suzuka Circuit's East Course, where many drivers will try to claim the first title outside of the United States, outside of the greater United States, all the way out in Asia. The first time HTL has been here, and certainly, hopefully, not the last as we get ready to go racing around the Suzuka Circuit East. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Cortez over here. Kevin Young joining me as well. Kevin, this ought to be a fun race tonight. We've seen this in real life. Now we're going to see it the HTL way.
Oh, this is definitely going to be a fun race. Glad to be in a track in the land of the rising sun. You don't usually see a lot of stock car series venture outside of the United States, usually for good reasons, as obviously the National Association. I was going to say it was North America, but that is not what the NA stands for in NASCAR. But regardless, a lot of the tracks in NASCAR is a sanctioned series in North America, so it makes sense a lot of those tracks will be raced in North America. But it's always great to kind of get out of your comfort zones. As you can see right now, as we're watching on track, the 3 of Caitlin Height is right now on a lap, and this is qualifying. We're currently live in and looking in. It is going to be 20 minutes here for qualifying for these drivers to go around. So 20-minute group qualifying session these drivers will have, and they'll have to set the best time they can if they want to start towards the front. And starting towards the front is a premium at a road course, as there's very little cautions and very little, as the only cautions will be the stage breaks. But after that, if at the final stage, you really have to be close to the front if you want to make something happen.
20 minutes of qualifying for all of these drivers right now. It's a group qualifying session, so everyone will come and go on the track as they please, trying to get the best time possible. And right now, the top time belongs to Dustin Holm, the number 12 Maroon PC Ford. He's doing, he turned in a time 53.480. Nope, that's going to be knocked off by Pacey Wygett, the 00, who now has a top spot at 53.009. 7 turns around this little circuit here. It is the east side of the circuit. There are multiple layouts here at Suzuka Circuit. There's a West course, there's a Grand Prix course, there's a motorcycle course. But tonight we're going to take the one that was run in the 90s here by NASCAR in a couple of exhibition races. So a lot of history here for these guys, a lot of history to be had here. And tonight, someone's going to make history as the first HTL winner in Asia.
Yeah, indeed. It's definitely a kind of a bragging thing. You can say that, hey, I won the first virtual race in another virtual country here, say the least. It looks like Joe may be having some slight technical difficulties, so we'll see if we can get him back in here in just a second. But we're still in qualifying here. As you can see, Caitlin Height comes across the line, still running P10 with a 53.658. Looks like Joe has joined, but we'll continue on my thought here as well. Right now, Lily Peltier-Sharp now jumps to the top of the board, and this is a situation where, like we saw with the other road courses and what we'll see later on the calendar with the Daytonas and the Watkins Glens, where we'll see road course ringers come on in and fill in some of the seats to try to get some of these drivers and teams that may be struggling in the owners' points right now, maybe a bit of reprieve, a bit of a lifeline to try to get them higher up in the constructor standings, or even do something like we saw a few weeks ago at Sonoma with Rudy Valentine, who ended up winning in the 4 machine for Unforgiven Motorsports, and in turn lock that team in the owners' championship standings.
One name that will not be here tonight is Bianca Consano, who was suspended after her actions at Pocono. Thank you, Pocono, last week. So she was the heavy favorite to win this race. She will not be in the field, but still plenty of ringers, as they say, coming on to tonight's race. Ruby Nekomata right now in position number 1, leading off the group. As you see the 00 just avoid calamity right there. Ruby Nekomata, a regular ringer here in the Cup Series when it comes to road courses. She had a great run at Sonoma, so don't be surprised if she has a great run here. David Spiel in the 8, taking over for Callie Height, who's missed quite a few races, so we hope everything is well with her. And Robert Pravelli in the 15, an uncharted entry coming in tonight.
Yeah, hearing from the Ryan Vines, maybe some sim racing problems, or at least equipment problems for Callie Height. So hopefully she can get that fixed and maybe get back in the car before the season ends. But still focusing on Ruby Nekomata right now, as she's going to catch a little bit of traffic. And with this track being so short, it is very easy to catch traffic. And as someone that likes running the Suzuka in a Formula 4 car around here, it can be a very pain to pass here. So you have to set up your moves down the long straight, and that's why qualifying is very important, because once you kind of go through those S sections, you're kind of just hoping a driver makes a mistake, like we just saw with Blake Henderson getting loose off the last corner. That is where you're usually going to find find your time. Riding aboard here with Pacey Wygent, who is a somewhat strong driver at the road courses, but someone you wouldn't say is a favorite at the road course. He's usually good to get a top 10, a top 5, but if we're sitting here, you and I, Joe, and thinking of names that would be a threat to win here, I don't think Wygent would be the first name would come to our minds. He'd definitely be in the top 10, as he's already gotten wins this season. You can go by his truck pedigree and his other series, but he's definitely right now leading the top of the charts with over 7 minutes already past to qualifying, and he's looking like he's doing more flyers here, keeping consistent times in the 52.5 range.
You were about to say he's not the favorite to win, yet he's at the top of the poll right now. 52.473, his fastest lap so far. So I don't think it's time to count out Pacey Wygent just yet, especially at a track that behaves, for all intents and purposes, like an oval. The long front stretch, followed by the S's around the back, back to the front stretch once again. So if you're talking, so any oval driver really has a chance to win tonight's race if they have the patience, if they can set themselves up for success and avoid what Lily Sharp just did right there and gave a little "how's your uncle" to the driver of the number 1.
Yeah, Ruby Nekomata going to have to mow the grass here. But I am saying, though, Wygent is always a threat to win. It's just his road course pedigree isn't always the strongest around that machine. As we see Nekomata now going to keep going here. So obviously, Run did not feel that impeded in that one, and they will keep trying to qualify and put down some good times. One other thing I'm noting as well is I'm looking at the board here of drivers that are here right now, looking at the top 5. Obviously, Caitlin Height just jumped second on the board. Here's Zachary Apperson back in the 4 machine, so he has rejoined the team here for this week to try to get some good points. But here you can see Caitlin catching Henderson in a bad spot, and this is what I was talking about. As you can see, gives a little bit of the fender there to Henderson, saying, hey, I'm on a flyer, you need to move if you're not going to keep it going here. So that is a lot of what we're going to see possibly tonight, is sometimes you're going to have to be willing to maybe throw a move, be aggressive, to maybe make a move happen, and in turn that could lead to calamity and problems, and in turn drivers may be ready to capitalize if mistakes happen.
That being said, you can't be too aggressive here on this track, as there are some new rules instituted after the 9 overtimes attempts at Pocono. First off, there will be a lower litmus for incidents on the track. So if you're very aggressive, if you're bumping, if Rubbin's racing for you, you're gonna have to pull it back a bit, because you're not gonna have that much leeway anymore. That's gone down a little bit, so we could see some drivers be asked to park it if they get too crazy. Second, there's now limited the amount of green, white, checkered finish attempts from unlimited to 3. So it really is not. Yes, you want to be aggressive. Yes, you want to be able to charge towards the front and make a stand here. Absolutely. The problem is you have to balance that with the rest of the race. This is going to be a longer race for these drivers. There's going to be quite a little bit of strategy they're going to need to figure out. And at the end of the day, what's going to come down to is who can balance that aggression with being smart and doing good racing all around the track.
Yeah, it's about being. It's really just kind of the name of the game. Sometimes you just got to be, like you were saying, Joe, clean, methodical. Keep everything on the track, and it will definitely pay out dividends. If you're a wrecking ball, if you're making mistakes, if you're taking people out, you're eventually going to get what you reap is what you sow. But even if you don't get taken up with someone on track, you're going to eventually face the wrath of the stewards. So you got to make sure you keep it nice and keep it clean. As we watch now qualifying, you can see the 3 still trying to put down fastest laps. Joshua Sosi jumped in, but we circled DJ Trout. DJ Trout currently sitting in P3 at the moment, halfway through qualifying. And it should be noting, Trout is a strong driver when it comes to road courses. We saw, well, maybe not you, Joe, but we saw as viewers on the HTL Truck Series at Canada just a couple weeks ago. DJ Trout was able to best Bianca Constantinou and the rest of the truck field, filling in and won the race at Montreal to lock themselves pretty much into the playoffs in the Truck Series. So in turn, you can't count out that 93, maybe looking to try to do the double and do double duty in the playoffs. Right now, sitting P3 at the moment with a good time in that number 93.
Another name we've talked about quite a bit right now in that Williams Racing machine is Caitlin Height, the number 3 car. She has been turning some very strong finishes in this second half, towards the second half of the season, including a great run here tonight at Suzuka Circuit. Last week at Pocono, she was one of the favorites to win, had an opportunity to win it with her teammates before all calamity broke out. Tonight, she's currently sitting position number 4, her fastest time, 52.556, which isn't very far off of DJ Trout and Josh Susi. So we definitely have some contenders, and I think Caitlin Heights can be one you're going to want to watch for the rest of the season.
Yeah, she obviously was the regular season champion for no. Think of the words here. She was not the she was the regular season champion for a reason. She's definitely strong and knows when to turn it on when the bright's the brightest. And if I'm not mistaken, she won Le Mans last year too in the road course machinery last year when HTL went abroad to France. So she knows when she brings out the passport, she knows how to turn it up and bring up the speed as she's still putting down consistent times in her number 3 machine. 8 minutes and some change left to go in qualifying. It's Wygant, Sosi, Trout, Height, Sharp, your top 5, and here's our pole sitter. Set that time, and he's really just been consistently improving it. We'll see if anyone can make the run. And one thing is, with being very cloudy and no sun, this track is very grippy. As without the sun, it's making this track a little bit easier for these cars to go around it, so you don't have to worry about, like we usually see in HTL qualifying and single car qualifying, where sometimes this is with the session changing lines, conditions changing, it can affect these cars and make it so they're not as planted. But now, with it kind of being a very cloudy day, it in turn allows these drivers kind of to be not really have similar conditional laps over and over and over again to put down good times. So we can see the weather right now, a temperature of 70 with a humidity of 1 and the wind north with 1 mile an hour. So a very, other than a very cloudy day, it's almost picture perfect.
Other than a cloudy day, nice day to be at the track. It's never a bad day to be at the track. Let's be honest about it. Just over halfway through qualifying, about 7.5 minutes left for these guys to get their guys and girls to get their laps down and try to make a move to get towards the front. The season, however, is coming to a close end. This is going to be a critical race as we only have 5 more races before we get to the chase for the HTL Cup. Next week we'll be at the High Banks of Michigan, followed by Talladega Superspeedway, Rockingham on August 5th, and then the duels at Daytona, the Daytona 200 on August 12th, and the Firecracker 400, both at Daytona International Speedway on August 19th before we get into the chase. And of course, you can watch all of those races right here on ABN1.
Yes, you can, and it's going to be very interesting how it plays out as drivers are going to scramble, make runs, try to do something, and try to pinch your tickets. And with HTL being a win-in-your-in system, it allows opportunity for drivers that may be running poor to get that last-second Hail Mary throw, whether at Talladega or even Daytona, to try to get that last throw and make something happen. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how it all plays out. Here we're now watching the number 35 car of Martin Roberg, currently sitting 15th. Roberg has been a good fill-in driver these past couple weeks, really consistent running top 5s, putting down good times. Right now on the road course, though, maybe have found his first real hurdle in this young HTL season he's partaked in, and seeing what he can do if he can adjust accordingly as he's in the slower half of the 23 cars that have set time so far.
One more rule change to note tonight. This will be one of the few races where there will be an extra quick repair for these drivers. There's only about 7 races where drivers will have 4 races where drivers will have 1 quick repair in the regular season. This is one of them. So drivers will have 1 quick repair in the event of an emergency. They will be able to go down pit road, get their car repaired, and get back on track. So there is that. That's good news for these drivers. Gives them license to try some things they wouldn't necessarily try anywhere else, and gives them license to try to attack the track a little bit. But again, you have to be very careful on when and how you want to burn that, because if you burn it too soon, the next incident could be your last.
Yeah, and if you punch the fender, make a mistake, and have to burn it quickly, yeah, could be game over, could be curtains. So these drivers have to be methodical and patient like they are at road courses, like they are at other situations, and make sure they keep their cars clean and keep them competitively fast. As usually, like we've seen, it's only at super speedways, but a nice little throw-the-bone moment that the organizers have given to these drivers. Little fun fact about the 78 machine of Odie is yet to set a valid lap time yet. Seems to be struggling at least a little bit here, and you will get these on these road courses, especially with that 78 of Odie, who is a independent driver, basically just driving for himself here, has a charter, but in a team of 1. And in these situations, sometimes you may just be a little bit out of your element. I know, for instance, if you put me in a next-gen car and told me to go run some quick laps at Suzuka, I think I'd be having a little bit of a struggle bus session going right now. But this is a good time for him to learn the track, get some good pace here, and in turn, if other drivers have mistakes, it can allow opportunity to capitalize. Same thing with Meredith right now, but he has been very stationary in the pit lane. At the same point, he is also yet to set a lap time as well.
9 drivers have not set a valid lap time yet. Tommy Reynolds, DeMonte Dotson, Kevin Gibney, Austin Mongold actually went through the session. He pulled the car behind the wall, so he is done, and he will start at the tail end of the field. Casey Ellis, Zachary Meredith, Hunter Peach, Dean Clavette, all have not set times on the field. Less than 5 minutes ago, it's do or die time. Taking about a minute to get around this track, you've got to get out. You've got to get out quick if you want to set a qualifying time or try to improve your qualifying time. Pacey Wygen still at the top of the field, but Caitlin Height has now caught him. Both of them under 52.4 seconds. 0.5 seconds, I should say. Both very, very quick times. Could we be seeing a rivalry building?
I think we can. I looked at some of the times here. Caitlin Height obviously had a purple sector 1 on her first lap before coming into pit lane. So she definitely feels that car can go faster. She has bested Wygen. But look how close the times are between the top 7, all separated within a tenth of each other. And we have a dead heat between Sharp and Nekomata for 5th. And then Gaiman right there just outside the top 5. So overall, it is very close between these drivers and the times right now to try to get in the situations. And you have to make sure you keep your lines perfect, and one little mistake, catching traffic at the wrong time, can ruin a lap. And with 2 minutes of change to go, worth knowing right now, Caitlin Height in the 3 just went wide into 1, so she's just basically lost a lap, and she's going to have to retry this again to get thrown back up. So as the time runs short, your window of putting down a great lap is smaller and smaller, and with a lap being about 52 seconds around here, you only get, right now, looking at my watch, maybe 2-3 more attempts to put down a flyer.
Just over 3 minutes left in session. Pacey Wygen, Caitlin Height, Joshua Susi, GJ Trout, and Lily Peltier Sharp. Right now, your top 5. Ruby Nekomata, the road course ringer, in 6th. Joshua Gavin 7th. David Smith Jr. in 8th. Eli Sassick in 9th. And Dustin Hall, who was the fastest man at the beginning, now sits in the top 10. Those same 9 drivers we named earlier still have not set a time, except for Richard Odie, who's now set a time of 57.088. So right now he'll start 25th towards the end of the field. But hey, sometimes any time is better than no time.
And in turn, even starting the back, sometimes that can help out. That can make it work out quite nicely for you. And in turn, if chaos happens, drivers start racking out, you can strike and make things happen. At the end of the day, it's better to start the show and be in back than not make the show at all. Here's Joshua Sosi, who while we were watching and talking, he just set the fast lap, and he based it by a millisecond over Pacey Wygen. So now Sosi, the driver that won last week, survived the 9 green-white checkers at Pocono. He is the man that's on pole position, his Hello Kitty machine. They usually talk about championship slumps. He's not showing it right now, has at least 3 wins this season. But you can see another driver and teammate for Lady Liberty keeping Socianis, Caitlin Height, currently sitting in 3rd. Here's Pacey Wygen coming across the line again. Can he improve on this flying lap? He cannot, 53.015. So now if you're crossing the line about now, this is your last chance, hurrah. If you're on a flying lap, you'll get 1 more. So we'll have to see what these drivers can do on their pretty much last attempt.
45 seconds left in qualifying. This is a last chance to dance here at Suzuka Circuit. The E-Circuit about ready to get going here tonight. And Josh Susie, Pacey Wygen, Caitlin Height, so far the top 3 starters at this track. Joshua Susie.
I think Susie went wide there. He is going to be probably day done for him. Caitlin Height, though, going to go for 1 more, 52.765 for the number 3 machine. So 1 more flying lap for her, and it looks like Pacey Wygen will also get 1 more attempt here. If he wants it, he comes across the line now. He will be the last driver as no one else is close to the line. So as the metaphorical gun fires here to end the session, Peltier Sharp just hits the wall in turn 1, so she will not prove as well. Checker flag is out. Wygen, Height, and a few others will have an attempt here to put down 1 more lap. We'll have to keep an eye on the scoring pylon if anyone can jump up. As Roberg, the 4 of Apperson, have both put down times, and neither can jump their way into the top 10.
They will have to finish their lap here in under a minute, as the stewards have told us. We're closing the track down at exactly 50 seconds from now. So these are their last attempts. This is their last shot at being able to make the show or improve their position at the show. So far, so good for everybody. The good news is everyone's made it in. Nobody's going home tonight. Only a field of 32 drivers tonight, so nobody forced to go home. The bad news is qualifying could make your entire race tonight. if you don't qualify well, if you did not qualify the spot you want, it's going to be very hard to pass. It's going to be very difficult to try to get around drivers, and this track was made for blocking, so you're going to have to work very, very hard to make the position work for you. 3 stages tonight. Where are we stopping at, Kevin?
Stages are going to be here. I'll make sure I got the numbers here. But first, we'll say the session is officially concluded. You saw Sosi and Wygent and Height did not improve. Joshua Sosi will be our pole sitter here tonight. Now, to answer your question on the stages, we're going to have stages on lap 25 and lap 50. Stage 1 and stage 2 should be the only cautions we see tonight, as qualifying has officially concluded, and it's going to be Sosi, Wygent, Height, 1, 2, 3. Is now we're ready to get on to warm up.
Only a 5-minute shakedown for these guys. Last chance to figure out where your pit box is, where you need to go for service, and what you can do with these vehicles on this track. So look for the drivers to make sure that they understand where pit stall entry is, to understand where they want to enter, where their stall is, and where the exit is, and how they want to manage their tires. Like you said, no caution flags tonight except for the stage breaks at lap 25 and 50 out of this 100-lap show. The only time a caution flag will be called, and it will be called by administrators, if there is a incident that impedes the entire track. So we'll have to see exactly what happens, and hopefully we'll be able to avoid a little bit of the issues we saw last week, with everybody understanding this is a road course. It takes a little bit more patience, and as we've said a million times on the show, in order to finish first you must finish.
Finishing is the most important thing, and in turn, for drivers, they have the playoff aspirations. They need to finish well to get points. And obviously with pit lane, it's a bit of a tricky pit lane. You'll see here as we watch Sad Swatsworth here as he works the last couple corners. Again, lap being under a minute, this race will fly by in a blink of an eye if you're not careful. It's only 100 laps. But right here, this is a very upsetting last part of the corner. And then there's the pit lane right there. And you're going to see drivers maybe make a mistake in that last corner and turn or spin it, and could block the pit lane possibly in certain situations. And if we have a green flag pit stops, which we're expecting to maybe have in the final stage, if one driver makes a mistake at the wrong point, it could impede lap, or in turn make it so a driver has to go an extra lap or two. So that pit lane being with the odd configuration, the last corner of Suzuki East, can make it a bit of a troublesome spot for drivers that run it low on the fuel tank.
Could definitely be a troublesome spot. It could also create some calamity for some drivers, because as you saw, there's basically 2 entrances there. One entrance is far off the last turn of the track, and the other one was coned off there on the right side. So if they miss one and decide to go past those cones instead, that's going to be a penalty for them, and that's going to cause some big problems down the line.
Yeah, and you don't want to face the wrath of the stewards, or now with the new incident count point limit, you do not want to add up those incidences and make it a problem. Obviously, not here tonight, as with road courses, incidents do not have penalties just because of the nature of the track. But in other sessions, you don't want to start racking up calamity corners. 2 minutes to go in the session. Right now, some drivers take the opportunity to do flying laps, others just doing shakedowns, and others just getting drinks and using the bathroom. But right now, it's Sharp, Trout, Sotsworth, Boone, Braille, and Clavitt, the only 6 cars to put down competitive times, as Sharp is the fastest. So we'll see if that can translate to race pace, as she only does 2 laps. And in turn, another thing is, these drivers got to be careful not to speed on pit lane, as unlike other cars to go around, is they give the bump to the 57. But unlike other cars to go around here that have limiters, have situations like that, these drivers aren't even going to have like markers in their boxes. They're going to have maybe a little sign person in a pit lane, but they're not going to have the usually landmarks you get when we go to regular NASCAR tracks that have those big pit lane lines and everything else. So it's going to be a bit hard to spot your box, and in turn could slide the tires and maybe even cost yourself those valuable seconds of pit lane if you're not paying attention to your spotter.
Oh, absolutely, which is why practicing your pit strategy right now is going to be incredibly important. Knowing not only where to come down pit road coming off that final 7th turn, but also where to stop. Give yourself visual cues on where you need to go. In oval tracks, you're absolutely right. They have all kinds of landmarks. They have all kinds of signs down pit road. They have delineators for each box. Here, you don't have that liberty. You don't even have tape to notice, to show where your box is. You have to trust your spotter, trust the sign man, and that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to, which is why practicing pit road right now is a smart strategy.
Yeah, as we got 47 seconds to go, you see Mongold mow the grass just a little bit there, going a little bit wide. And that's, you can't even go 2x2 in that corner. It's all about momentum. As we see Sharp practicing pit lane entry and exit again, just really making sure she can get in. And here's the 28 machine going around the last corner. Matthew Boone just keeping it planted. And that could be another tricky spot, as it's very hard to get these stock cars to stop on a dime. And that corner is a very hold the throttle but get on the brakes at the same time situation. So these drivers will have to make sure they keep these cars on the edge, but not too far on the edge, as warm-up is about to conclude here.
You think Austin Mongold will be able to find his traditional Dr. Pepper here in Japan?
It's probably, yeah, there'll be tons of exotic flavors and other things. If you could read the katakana on the bottle, have a good chance, but it's probably got at least something. I want to know more what the parody flavors of Dr. Pepper are here. What are they calling it here? Dr. what in that regard?
What is your favorite flavor of Dr. Pepper?
I don't drink Dr. Pepper, so I couldn't tell you what flavors they have, but they have 23 flavors, so. Ooh,
Chrissy loves cherry Dr. Pepper, but I don't know. I'm more of a cream soda Dr. Pepper kind of guy.
I'll have to take your word, both of you, for what your flavors are. As again, Dr. Pepper is not in my wheelhouse. But that will do it for warm-up, as now we are on to qualifying here. And let's take a look at the starting grid in a second here. As you can see, we're at Suzuka, Japan. And Joe, why don't you just show us off with who is starting on the front row?
Pole position belongs to the 81 of Joshua Susi, your winner last week at Pocono, turning in a time of 54.472 seconds. In second, on the outside of him, will be the the driver who turned time 52.473, pacing-wise at 00. Caitlin Height and DJ Trout will make up row number 2. Behind them, Lily Peltier Sharp, the 71, in position number 5. Ruby Nakamata, one of the ringers here that come in position number 6. Row number 4 belongs to the 33 of Joshua Gaiman and the 8 of David Smeal Jr. And rounding out your top 10, the 9 of Eli Sason and the 12 of Dustin Hall.
Moving on further down the grid here, we got Lilac Zier and Robert Crivelli making up row number 6. Row 7 will be Jerry Braille and Sad Swatsworth. Moving on to row number 8, we got Martin Roberg and Zachary Apperson. Moving on to row number 9, we'll have Blake Henderson and Selena Thompson. Moving into row number 10, we got Josh Arnold and Lily Frazier. And on to row 11, we got Christopher Pendell and Matthew Boone, as now we're getting the cars at not set times. Row 12 is going to be Tommy Withers and Alfred Denny. And row 13, Richard Odie and Dean Clavitt. Row number 14 here, Zachary Meredith and Hunter Beach. Row 15, DeMonte Dodson and Tommy Reynolds. Row 16, Austin Mongold, Kevin Gibney Jr. And last row, Casey Ellis in number 11, bringing up the rear here. 17 rows, 33 drivers going to take the flag here to start this race.
2 pace laps around this track. We'll get 2 parade opportunities to show off all these cars tonight. Again, from the National Weather, well, not the National Weather Service because we're in Japan, obviously. Current conditions for racing, temperature of 71 degrees, very, very low humidity, no humidity, and no wind to speak of in this overcast condition. So tonight, expect a grippy track. Expect these drivers to be able to run on with some of that grip. But that being said, don't look for multiple lanes of traffic. This is a 7-turn race course on the east side of Suzuka Circuit, which means they'll be running flat turns the entire way, and they're going to be navigating them in very, not treacherous, but let's say unfavorable conditions.
Favorable is the right word, especially with the cloudiness over the air and the visibility being a bit poor, so these drivers will have to navigate that if they want to bring home the checkered flag.
One more to go. Kevin, who are you watching in tonight's race?
Well, I think that's a lot of drivers here. Joshua Sosi, someone you can never count out, but I'm gonna shake it up a little bit here. I'm gonna go with a few road course ringers. DJ Trout, I just got that feeling after I saw him at Montreal. I think he's definitely got a chance to find his way into victory lane. We'll then shout bone Lily Pelletier Sharp. She's another driver that needs a good run here, and I think this track suits her driving styles. And you know what? We'll go with Dustin Hall here. I think after what happened at Pocono, he's kind of re-energized himself. He's shown some strong pace. I think that got that metaphorical monkey off his back, and he's ready to capitalize and make something happen.
Meanwhile, I'm taking a look at the 3 of Caitlin Height. She's been on a tear these last few weeks. Very confident now behind that car in a new paint scheme for that car. The Williams paint scheme has done her well, so I expect that her opportunities are only going to continue to blossom as the season comes to an end. Ruby Nakamata can never count out the number 1 machine. That's always going to be a challenger for the day. And I also like the 12 of Dustin Hall. He took the pole very early, just to be knocked down to position number 10, but he seems very confident behind the wheel of that Ford Mustang. He seems very confident running this track, and I've got a feeling he's got a great opportunity to capitalize and pick up some points tonight.
First time we've agreed on one driver in our little 3 predicted driver situation. So obviously, you know what? Maybe that's good luck for Dustin Hall. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. As the safety car pulls through its last couple corners, which obviously it probably is a safety car considering we're in Japan rather than a pace car, we're going to see this race start here. 25 laps is the end of stage number 1. It's going to go by in a blink of an eye. 25 minutes and they keep it clean. I think we got a good pace to see that happen.
The safety car should make the hard turn down pit road any second now as they go through the final S and into that abrupt right turn when they get ready to go green flag racing. Safety car is off, and now it's in the fans of Joshua Zusi and Pacey Wygen. The 81, the 00 will lead us to the green flag. The green light's about to light up, and we are going green flag racing. Almost across the first finish line. And now on to the actual finish line. We are going green flag racing here at Suzuka Circuit.
So as the drivers navigate the last corner here, Joshua Zusi is going to take off where he was at the end of last week, leading that lap with Height, Sharp, Trout, Sasic, your top 5. Trout went a little wide going off into corner number 1, ended up losing a spot for their troubles. Other than that, though, everyone else keeping it relatively clean. Only a few drivers had a mistake, like Blake Henderson, a little bit further back, but everyone else, no major damage. And now the question is, you got to keep it clean, got to keep it competitive, but make sure you size up your moves. You don't want to force something and make a problem and make it worse.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Joshua Zusi at the beginning of that run. It looked like he either spun tires or it was a deliberate move to get back towards the back of the field to try to avoid some of the chaos that could be coming up front. Meanwhile, speaking of up front, Joshua Zusi in first, Pacey Wygen was the one who dropped back. Caitlin Height in second, Lily Sharp third, DJ Trout fourth, Eli Sasic fifth, Ruby Nakamata sixth, and then they start to break up from there.
I would also say with Wygen having that win, I would not be shocked if maybe a little bit of gamesmanship at the very least. As we ride on board here with Eli Sasic, good run, going to maybe try to make a move, but there's the problem right there. You get close, you get to a spot, you just run out of road, then you got to find a way around. So Sasic going to have to be patient, but the problem is when you got a hungry number 1 behind you who's only looking for a checker flag and Ruby Nakamata, and then you also have Lilac Sear driver needing a good run as well. It's very hard to kind of stay patient with that pressure in those cars making up your mirrors here. But Sasic doing a good job holding down P5 in his number 9 machine.
Lilac Sear, another driver you want to watch tonight. She had a great finish at Sonoma Raceway. I believe she finished third at the end of the race. So Zier is someone you definitely want to keep an eye on, especially as the at the late stages of this race. Wygen has now moved himself up back from where he was to position number 8. So I think this is a strategic move on his part just to try to get out of the way, make sure there's going to be no tragedy up front to start the race. And now he's got plenty of license to work his way through the field.
Yeah, he's doing a good job right now, keeping it and planting it nicely. Zusi's the Pied Piper leading the train in his Hello Kitty machine. Actually, it's actually fitting he's running the Hello Kitty machine here this week, as Hello Kitty does come for the land of the rising sun. So almost fitting in with the culture around here as he is leading that hot pink machine that's brought him well this season. Number 1 currently on the track.
Lena Thompson just had a little bit of a moment there with Matthew Boone in the 28. Boone giving her the door coming off of that first turn. And now Selena Thompson trying to fight her way back as the 28 goes off-road. The 28's going to cut the grass and lose 3, maybe 4 spots out there.
Yeah, that's going to be his time loss for that number 28 machine of Matthew Boone. Couple already lost. Zachary Meredith going to capitalize as well. That's a confidence killer when you make mistakes like that. It leaves you vulnerable, and then you have to think in the back of your mind, okay, what I do wrong, how can I fix it and not make the same mistake again? And these road courses can really tick away at your psyche, unlike kind of oval sometimes where if you make a mistake, it's only 4 corners, you'll get back there soon enough. But on these road courses, you make a corner, let's say at corner 5, it's going to be another minute before you get another chance. You got to hope you can remember and not get too much in a battle to know what you did wrong.
Joshua Susi starting to pull away from everybody. Caitlin Knight vigorously defending against the advances of the 71. And that's going to be the battle to watch right now between the 3 and the 71. They're only about a car length away from each other. And when you go through the S-turns on the backstretch, that's when they really start to do a little battle between one another. So I am very curious to see how that battle is going to end up.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle as they battle on right now. It's holding hotlines, holding spots, but height currently still having the advantage at the moment. But you can see that Ford Mustang filling in the mirrors, just keeping that 3 honest, telling the 3, you need to keep your pressure up or else I'm ready to capitalize if an opportunity presents itself, I should say. Other than that, though, again, like we kind of said, being a single group track, not a lot of major moves happening here. So everyone's just kind of holding on. But one thing to note, Joshua Susi set the fastest lap last time by. He's looking poised maybe to set the fastest lap again here.
Susi starting to run away with the mail here. He was a second away, but here comes Caitlin Height. The 81 must have made a critical mistake somewhere, especially on that last turn, because now Height is only about half a second away. So the door is open, and Susi, who was running away with this race, may not be running away for much longer.
Yeah, and when you're pushing, going for hot laps, trying to push aggressively, it can leave you vulnerable, and Susi kind of wound that all the hard way there. As it bit him back, still kept the lead, but now that gap which he was trying to grow, trying to extend, is now at a spot where it's within giving basically red meat to the Sharks, which are Height, Sharp, and Trout. Speaking of, here's a DJ Trout in 4th position, hounding the back of that 71, has a little bit of breathing room for the 9 to Sasek, taking up his mirrors, so it's giving him kind of a reprieve here to just hold his line, run his line here, and try to make a lunge here, but Sharp as well, kind of just holding station as well.
And then there's Ruby Nakamata, who comes in as a road course ringer to these tracks. We'll probably see her again at Watkins Glen in just a few weeks, but so far she's minding her own business, running 6, not really aggressively chasing down the 9, not really trying to get ahead. She might be playing the long game here. While everyone else is scrambling for position, she may be playing the long game, trying to let everyone else burn down their equipment, and she might want to take advantage when everybody else isn't paying attention.
Yeah, and we've seen at road courses strategies play out. Drivers electing to pit before the stage ends because we have stage cautions at 25 and 50. So sometimes drivers will come in, get off sequence, try to come in at the second stage and get the track position. It worked for drivers like Josh Gaiman, Lilac Sear, and Jeremy Braille and Seth Wansing at Sonoma many weeks ago. But the problem is with this track being so short, being less than a minute, you don't have enough time to really get that undercut strategy work because you will go a lap down. So it takes an element of strategy out. So in Ruby Nakamata's case, maybe saving tires, backing it up, and getting some extra life, as we're not expecting these drivers to take tires on the first pit stop. Saving the rubber could maybe make you ability to be very strong in stage number 2. And right now, pounding the back of that number 9 machine, who's running a very interesting paint scheme.
2 drivers did not take the call to the green flag. Tommy Reynolds and Hunter Peach were not on the racetrack, and I don't know that they will be coming back. So unofficially, we'll score them 32nd and 33rd, respectively, Hunter Peach and Tommy Reynolds. Meanwhile, up front, Susi starting to wind up his lead. Again, last time around, he was almost 8/10 ahead of Caitlin Height. This time, on that long, fast straightaway, where they can get up to 170, 180 miles per hour on the straightaway. His gap between him and Height will certainly climb to about a second. This time, officially, it is, well, it's quite a bit because we haven't gotten the registry yet, so it'll be over 8/10 of a second, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's hovering right around 8/10 right now as I'm keeping more of a live update there between the first two cars here. And it's fluctuating as Height makes a little bit of road here, Susi makes a little bit of road here. I think Susi right now is a little bit faster than Height, but Susi's a little bit more prone to make mistakes than Height. So that allows Height to capitalize and get runs off. But you can see right now as we ride aboard here Sharp, she's giving us a good little rundown of what this lap is. And you see right here, she's trying to get in that corner aggressively here because she wants to be able to get the better run down the straight to really set something up here. So she went deep, but in turn that's going to kill her exit. And that's going to allow that 3 a little bit more breathing room. So it's going to, the key of passing is making runs. As you can see, we're circling the speed right now. And we're going to hit about 170. That's probably about 170 before they comfortably hit their breaking point. And if we get late on in the crunch time, we even see drivers pinch out to 175, maybe 180.
So Peltier Sharp doing everything she can to keep the pressure on Height. This may be in this situation where she's going to try to force Caitlin Height to make an unforced error here. This may be a situation where if she can keep enough pressure on the 3 will have a problem of her own and ultimately give the 71 an opportunity to get around. As both of them now starting to catch the 81 of Susie again. This may be a strategy move by Susie to save the rubber a little bit as you see them all now basically in the same frame.
Yeah, with track position being key, if you can save your tires, get extra life out of them, you don't have to take 2 or 4 of them when you come down your pit stop, and in turn can keep that track position. And even in turn, there's some possibility as well, we're kind of hearing as well, there's very unlikely they won't pit at all in this race because of how the tires work. So we'll have to make that a note here. So track position is the key of the race, and only some drivers maybe in the back will really take those tires just to try to hope it makes any sort of difference.
We'll have to see how strategy works out and how these drivers want to manage their race here at Suzuka Circuit. We are scoring lap number 12 of 100 on this track. Plenty of racing left to do as the rest of the track really kind of spread out to their own devices right now. Where you're at is where you're at. Only other battle is around the 12th position. Selena Thompson leading a group of 4, including Chad Swatsworth, Josh Gaiman, and Zachary Apperton in that group as well. So everyone kind of left to their own devices right now. It's everyone working on their own strategy, seeing what they can do, seeing how they can make these cars work for them.
Yeah, you saw it right there. Sharp thought about making an opportunity there. Keeping the 3 honest, maybe forcing the 3 into the mix, saying, hey, I'm going to pop out. Are you going to go defensive? Are you going to try to cover me off? In turn, 71 trying to play mind games on the 3 here. The only thing I worry about is 71 burns up her stuff just a little bit too much. She's got to make sure she doesn't overcook her tires doing that and then have to spend a couple laps cooling it down. You can see right now the 3 a lot more smooth than the S section. But in turn, they also have a lot of history, so you know if they do get side by side, neither driver is really going to give each other an inch here.
Neither one will give an inch, and I think that's why we see the 3 just driving so aggressively to keep the 71 behind her. I think Caitlin Height does not want to open the door for the 71 at all tonight. I think she just wants to continue to run her race and not give the 71 a chance because she knows if she does, there could be some trouble.
You can see on the left side of the screen, Richard Odie.
71 goes wide.
Yep, 71 overcooked it just a bit here, and you're going to see, luckily, I was about to say, Richard Odie just went 1 down. That may have been a bit of a helper for Lily Peltier Sharp there, as because with Odie kind of being in that corner, going into the side angle, he kind of backed up the rest of the queue, and in turn left it a little bit more vulnerable to attack. So you see here Odie right in front of that little train. He's going to slow up just a bit, then try to get out of the way. But that's still just enough, and there you can see 71 over pushing corner 1. We're going to quickly come back on the circuit, so going to lose time to Height, and now she's got to worry about being under pressure from Trout, Sasek, and Nekomata. So from one battle to another, that 71's going to have to fight and hang on. But right now, closing that gap back up quite quickly.
Going back to position number 4, DJ Trout is making up a little bit of time there in that position. Last time around, there wasn't a whole lot of gap between those two. Less than half a second, or less than a second, I should say, between the 93 and the 71. So Trout could still have an opportunity to be within striking distance. Meanwhile, Eli Sasek now under fire from the 1 of Ruby Nekomata. Ruby doing everything she can right now to start putting a little pressure on the 9, start making the 9 feel a little bit of a heavy breath down his neck, but the 9 doing a very good job of being defensive, doing a very good job being smart, and ultimately letting the car do its job tonight.
Something out here, Lilacs here just pitted at lap 15 here. She's coming out of the pit lane now. She was running top 10. I'm not seeing a lick of damage on that car when she came in. I even resumed back to kind of see if anything happened, and she seems no incident. So very odd situation for her to come in that early. Only topped in for fuel. So again, we know we saw her at Sonoma try different strategies. So maybe this is just a roll the dice situation to get that car towards the front here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 50 and see if that element plays out. Back up to the front here, the 3 has now officially caught the 81 as the 81 has caught into traffic. And right now, just up the road, a few extra cars here. So this is going to be worth noting here to play out and see if that traffic can help that 3 make a move on the 81.
We'll have to see exactly what happens here as the 81 starts to catch up to traffic. You can use some of those lap cars as a pick, try to slow down the guy in front of you, and ultimately take the lead out here. If Caitlin Height can pick up the lead off the 81, this would make it a whole lot nicer for her. She'd get away from Sharp, and she'd take the lead at the same time. That's a double win, especially coming to the end of stage 1, as we're almost done with it. 8 more laps to go before we call stage 1 one and done.
Hearing a little bit of chatter on the radio and hearing some through the garage here from our pit reporters, I think what Lilacs here pitting was just to fill up, maybe to get the end of stage number 2 here with how the fuel works. So you can see right there, Mongo goes wide. Got to be careful how to re-merge. You don't want to take someone out here. Having a bit of a struggle bus right now at the moment, currently sitting in P29. First car, though, 1 down, I believe. I will confirm that just in a second here. So he would be poised to get the lucky dog, so just has to hang on, but could be a bit of a 4 in the side from these cars that are around. But right now, top 2 keeping it close, and you can also see that 71 machine coming closer and closer here. So if the 2 teammates get a little bit racy, it could open the door for the 71 to try to maybe force something.
Maybe we'll have to see as time continues to click down. Currently scoring lap 18 of 25. Joshua Susie still up front. Caitlin Height second. Lily Pelletier Sharp third. DJ Trout fourth. And Eli Sasek in top 5. So really no major changes so far in stage number 1. I'm not sure we're going to see any major changes in stage number 1. It may come down to pit stops before we start seeing any sort of shift on the track.
Yeah, pit stops can play the factor, and with tires, again, being not a factor here with how short it is, it's just going to come down to the fuel driver, the fuel man, putting it in the cap and putting it in as quickly as they can. That could be what makes a driver a winner or a loser here, as, again, passing is at a premium here. Now running aboard here with 3 of Caitlin Height. This time by will be on lap 19. The 81 goes a little wide, but not for fear, trying to pinch it low. Actually, I don't think they really hit that apex. This is going to allow the 3 a chance to get a run. But right now, that gap is stabilizing. So overall, dead heat through sector number 2 there.
About a half second between Susie and Height. About a half second between Height and Sharp. So plenty of racing still left to do here. But right now, everybody just kind of minded their P's and Q's, not chasing the car too much, and not forcing it to do more than it can on this very tricky Suzuka Circuit tonight. As now they start to bunch up together on the track. Rest of the field pretty scattered out at this point. No real battles to speak of on the track. It's all about the first 5 and how they want to run this track.
Yeah, keeping methodical, keeping your pace, and running your line is all you have to do to keep your track position here. Ruby Nekamata right now on the radio comms. Didn't really hear exactly what she said, but she's trying to just maybe glide a little bit of traffic here. She did catch a little bit of lap traffic there. Right now, still behind the 9, but right now, the 9 and then 1 have both lost time to the 93 of DJ Trout. So with that gap growing and growing, maybe Nekamata feeling a bit of that pressure, feeling that hopelessness, knowing that that P4 is running away, maybe wants to do something here, but again, just can't fully get that run, still sitting in P6 in their Chevrolet Camaro.
Still 6 laps left to go, 5.5 at this point. But nonetheless, no need for hopelessness just yet. We're not even through the first stage. This track is going to feel a lot longer, and technically it is as a 21 now off track. Kevin Gibney Jr. almost gets in the 71, able to avoid as the 71 gets around the 21 with ease. The hopelessness is not the term you need right now. We're not even in the end of stage number 1 yet. We're 5 laps away as Caitlin Height will now pull down the attention of her crew. This could be another strategy call to try to fuel up to get through and pass stage number 2.
Yeah, that could be the call here. Track position is key. Pit lane, remember, closes at lap 24. So 4 laps before when Stocy crosses the line with 2 laps to go for the pit lane ends. Height obviously giving up stage positions, but with her winning Indianapolis, she already has that win, so she does not really need to really feel pressured. Just needs to run her race and get as many stage points as she can. That will promote Sharp and Trout, and DJ Trout just got around Pelletier Sharp in corner number 2. So Trout now up to second. Sharp, I think, may have made a slight mistake. Wonder if we can take a look at that. But right now, Trout is in second position.
Trout easily in second position, as it was a mistake by the 71. The 71 goes wide once again in that first turn. That first turn's been a foil for her all night long. It's the second time she's overcooked it going into that turn, and that just opened the door for the 93. Great side-by-side battle through the S turns. Looks like the 93 gives her a little bit of the door coming towards the end of it, but nonetheless, the 93 now in position number 2. Peltier Sharp back to position number 3.
Those ices are very tight enough for one car, let alone two, so both cars fighting for real estate and on the apex. But you know Sharp isn't going to be too thrilled that she got doored there, but at the end of the day, was her mistake that left the door open for the vitamin water machine to have a chance to make a lunge. But right now, Trout in second, Sharp in third, and Trout, like we were kind of talking in the pre-race, along with Trout, both in the kind of need a win or kind of need a good finish if they want to have a chance to compete for the championship in 5 weeks' time. And this is kind of one of their strong tracks in their wheelhouse, and they're making the best of the opportunity right now, running second and third respectively. But Joshua Sosi right now, we cut back to him. He is really putting the power down here. That gap is growing and growing. So it's too early to call it, but right now, if you're looking for like how we saw in Sonoma, where it was going to be the winner, probably Constantin or Valentine, right now it looks like Sosi or Height look poised to take this win as Trout, as you can see, Sharp try to get aggressive on the brakes again. Then maybe you get a run here on Trout as almost gets on the bumper there to try to upset that 93.
That was definitely contact between the 93 and the 71 there, and she's not going to make very many friends doing it that way. But I don't think she's interested in doing that. She's interested in one thing, and that's taking the checkered flag when the day is said and done. Trout still doing everything he can to keep the 71 in his rear view mirror, but Sharp not taking no for an answer. She is going to continue to run all over the back bumper of that 93 with that red vitamin water machine until we go. Here she goes for the pass. Can she make it into the last turn? Doors the 93. And the 71 will move up to position number 2 with pit lane closed. 2 to go. Susie is in.
Yeah, Susie's in. So this is now the battle for the stage win here between the two of them. Trout went wide in that last corner, opened the door for 71 to make a move. Now it's be 4 cars, but the 71 overcooks corner 1 again. Maybe feeling a bit intimidated. The 93 is looking poised to make a move. They'll be side by side, the S's, and they are banging and bumping, and the 71 says, "You're not going to door me again like you did last time."
And 93 making contact with the 71 again, all over the back bumper. I think we have quite a physical battle brewing here as we go through the S turns one more time and then make the hard right turn to come around the 7th turn for the final time in the stage. What are they going to do? The 93 bumps the 77 again, tries to get her off kilter. It will not happen. The 71 walks away, and Lily Peltier Sharp should be, oh no, check it, we have one more to go. One more lap to go before we call the stage.
So see, the 71 getting a little bit defensive there. The 71's got to be careful on the brakes. If she overcooks this, Nekomati can see also maybe make a move on Sasek. 71 looks planted, but going just a tiny bit wide. Could allow the 93, but if that 93 gets a run in that S section, I would not be shocked if she puts a fender to that 71. A little lap traffic up the road as well. The 29 and the 23 could play a tiny bit of factor here. We'll see if the 71 can navigate that successfully, but right now doing good halfway through the lap.
71, 93 still battling back and forth. The 71 has the advantage, but the 93 of DJ Trout, he wants it just as bad. What's going to happen when we get to the right-hand turn? Right now, the 71 takes it. The 93 goes wide. The 71 has the advantage. Count Lily Peltier Sharp, a stage winner in this series, as she will take the first green checkered flag in Asia for the HTL Cup Series.
Yep, she'll be stage 1 winner. Trout, Sasek, Nekomata will be your top 4. We'll check the rest as they come across the line here in just a second. But you can see those tempers flaring here, and actually we'll now take a look at the unofficial results. It'll be Sharp, Trout, Sasek, Nekomata, Wygant, Roberg, Crivelli, Gaiman, Hall, Thompson, your top 10 here. And hearing some of the radio chatter right now, there is a little bit of a tempers flare between Trout and Sharp right now. Minor, but you know there is at least a little bit of bad blood right now between the two of them.
You call it minor right now. We say it's minor, but the way they were physically driving and beating on one another, this is going to escalate. And I've got a feeling, as long as the 71's up front, we know she is the villain. We know that she has no problem being the villain in the HTL Cup Series, and she's going to do everything she can, no matter what it takes. Very Machiavellian of her. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, rubbing is racing, absolutely. But that being said, you know, when you got a target on your back, You either have to be good or you got to be fast.
Yeah, and in turn, at least no one wrecked here, no one went around. So overall, though, even though they were banging, they kept it clean enough. But obviously, this is something that could boil over if they're not careful. So Trout obviously going to take a little bit of a learning experience from that, along with Sharp. As you can see right here, that's the move right there with the 71 putting the bump on the 93. That kind of started this calamity. Well, previously it was when Trout and Sharp were going side by side with the S's. Sharp gets around on the mistake of Trout. And then you just see as we watch this replay here, you're going to keep an eye on that 71 overcooks the corner here. And you could argue maybe an unsafe reentry or possibly, but the 93 on the low side, 71 comes back. They'll be side by side, and 71 not wanting deja vu shoves off the 93 before they can go side by side in the S section. And then the 93 shows the temper there with a bunch of little rear taps there saying, hey, you can't just close the door on me like that before we can even get through the S section.
Now the question is, who's going to come down pit road? Who among this group is going to come down pit road? We saw Lilac Zier come down pit road. We saw Caitlin Height come down pit road, and we saw Josh Susie come down pit road before it was closed to end the stage. Now who's going to be the next ones to come down pit road? I've got a feeling these drivers cannot make it to stage 2 with the fuel they have in their tanks now. And if you do stop for fuel, do you stop for tires as well? Peltier Sharp is going to come down, and it looks like she's going to lead the whole team all the way down pit road.
This will obviously promote the cars that came in under the last caution, like before the last caution, say, put the stage end, like Caitlin Height, Joshua Sosi, Lilac Zier. They will all get promoted here, and the lead actually will go to Caitlin Height here, bearing she does not come in. She will not. So actually, Josh Gaiman will take the lead. He stays out, so he is going to be the only driver that didn't come in before the stage break, and he will take the lead. Then it will be Height and Sosi and Zier, the next three who all came in for the caution. Fuel is good on Height, Sosi, Zier. Question marks on Gaiman. Now the next question is, tires are not a premium, but some of them are electing to take tires here on pit lane.
The 93 will take 4 tires. The 71, the 00, the 1, all electing to take 4 tires. 2 drivers electing not to take tires are the 35 of Roberg and the 12 of Dustin Hall. DJ Trout of the lead group will lead them off pit road. Chad Swatsworth in second, Eli Sasek in third, and Lily Sharp drops all the way down the field. Not a great pit stop for the 71.
Yeah, no, that was not a great stop there by the 71. Obviously led the train, so could control the pace here. And obviously a very slow 15.88 seconds. May have been a little bit of damage, possibly so some contact, maybe a second's worth of repair that she had to take. We'll see if anything happened on the pit lane as we had a replay pop up here. See if maybe any contact she checked up here. So we're watching here, so like maybe she missed her box. Talked about that could be a problem. And she stops, so yeah, she doesn't reverse. So overall, though, nothing on the entry. So overall, just kind of a slow stop by her virtual crew. So she's going to have a talk with the virtual pit members to go a little bit faster.
If we know her, I'm sure that talk has already begun.
I can already hear her on the radio right now as we speak. But up front, Josh Gaiman will take the lead. Very a strong driver at the road course, and he loves these alt strategies to try to make things happen. He wants to track position. He wants to flex his muscle right now, and he is going to do that by taking over the lead here. But the question is, obviously, with the oldest tires in the field not getting to pit, in comparison to Height and Sosi, who both came in for 4 tires and fuel during their pit stops. This is going to hurt Gaiman a little bit, especially on the restart, so he's got to be careful not to spin the tires. And then secondly, with at least some slight concerns that these drivers may not be able to make it to the end of Stage 2, the question is, can Gaiman even make it to the end of Stage 2 on the tank fuel he has?
All questions will have to get answered here in stage number 2. We will come back to green flag racing at lap number 30. Gives us 21 laps of green flag racing as the pace car will line them up 2 by 2. Josh Gaiman in first, Caitlin Height second, Josh Susie third, Lilac Zier fourth, and there'll be then Dustin Hall, Martin Roberg in row number 3. Row number 4 belongs to DJ Trout and Chad Swatsworth. And all the way back at row number 5, Eli Sasek and Lily Peltier Sharp. Both not going to be happy with their positions, but I've got a feeling those positions may change very quickly once the safety car gets the hell out of the way.
I'm hearing some radio chatter right here through control here. I think Peltier Sharp may have beat the pace car coming into pit lane here, possibly. I'm hearing it through Lisa chatter for control and her. She's trying to argue her case. So keep an eye on this 71 here for the next couple laps here. She may have a penalty. She may have to serve. Obviously, hearing it through second-hand in count here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that at the very least. But up front, it's Gaiman, Height, first row with Sosi Zier, row 2. Roberg, Hall, row 3. Trout, Spotsworth, row 4. Sasek, Sharp, your first 5 rows. But could be some drama for our Stage 1 winner.
Certainly some drama. We'll have to see how that all plays out. As we get ready to go green flag racing one more time. Joshua Gaiman, he's the first driver who has not come down pit road yet, so he is on a completely different strategy than everybody else. We'll probably see the 3, the 81, and the 50. They'll all come down pit road before the end of stage number 2. But the 33, he's going to decide when exactly he wants to come down pit road and when it makes the most sense for the Marconi Setup Shop team to do it. The 33 starts to lead them down the long front stretch here at Suzuka East. Joshua Gaiman, Caitlin Height, your top 2 as we get ready to go green flag racing past the moto line, past the Grand Prix line, and now on to the start-finish line for this race. Green flag about to fly. We're back to racing here at Suzuka.
Oh, touch there for the lead there. Sorry to cut you off, Joe. Gaiman tried to make up for a poor start there, and you can see he went very aggressive. 50 and 3 going to be side by side here, coming up through the S's. Height will capitalize here, 0 fall to second, and Gaiman's gamble is not paid off at the moment. He will fall down to 4th position, and now have to try to hang on with the fury of drivers with 4 tires. As you can see, Roberg also go very wide in his 35.
We talked about how tires may not be a factor. We're starting to see the difference now between the haves and the have-nots. The haves are able to be a little more aggressive as the 93 and 35 make contact going into turn number 7. The have-nots, in terms of Joshua Gaiman, the 33, he's having a little bit more of a struggle out here. So we'll have to see exactly how that plays out throughout the rest of this sector. Martin Roberg moves up to position number 6. DJ Trout now in 7th. Eli Sasek in 8th, and Ruby Nekamata in 9th. These 3 drivers are having a battle for their lives.
Yeah, they're having a battle for their lives right now. One driver not having a battle for their lives, Lily Peltier-Sharp. That penalty has been confirmed, and she is now coming down the pit line right now.
Around.
Yeah, Cora going around. What's happened, Joe?
The 4 went around. The 4 made contact with the 9 of Sasek, and now the front end has been taken off the 4 machine. So Zachary Apperson had trouble coming off of the turn number 1, made contact with the 9 as the 9 came back onto the track from overcooking his turn. And the 4, now heavy damage to the car. No caution flag, but he definitely made contact with somebody to take the nose off the 4.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a look at who that car was. Actually, I think we're back to live action here. So take a look here and see if I can find out who exactly it was. But that 4 now moves in the front end clip, similar to what we saw with Valentine in that Ghost Energy Machine. But it did make it go faster. So we'll see if Apperson, obviously the Vesper, gets it fixed. But right there, you can see Sosi making a move, going to try to throw a move on Zier here and try to go side by side. Sosi showing why he was leading stage 1 before he pitted. He will take 2nd position here and now try to charge up to get to his teammate in 3 of Caitlin Height.
Caitlin Height, currently your leader. Let's go and look back at the restart real quick, and you can see just the 33 and 3 side by side there. The 33 does not get the jump that he wanted on that restart that opens the door up for the 3, and Lilac here in the 50 says, "Take me with you." And Caitlin Height able to manage her tires very well on that restart. The 33 looked a little frustrated as he locked up the brakes going into turn number 1, able to recover it, but not as well as he would have liked.
Yeah, and then you can see trying to capitalize back, lose spots here, try to maybe make advantage of that as well with her slightly older tires. She only took fuel only when she came into 14, but just couldn't really get there side by side. Can also answer the question, who was the driver that hit Apperson that caused that damage, at least possibly with the net code. It was the 44, Jeremy Braille, in the Spiel Race Designs machine. Obviously hard to tell if he's got any damage on that front clip, or maybe it was an iRacing net code collision. Car looks okay from what I'm seeing, but he was the one that hit the 4 on the front end clip, causing the 4 to lose his front end clip.
Meanwhile, back up front, Caitlin Height immediately under fire from Josh Susi. The 2 of them, only 0.3 of a second between them. That might increase here on this very fast front straightaway. Remember, at the end of the straightaway, they hit about 175 miles per hour. So you can definitely get if you can get a good run, get a good jump off turn number 7, you can absolutely pick up some time on that front stretch. So Caitlin Height wastes no time. She gets a good run, but Josh Susie not very far away. Only about 4 car lengths between the 3 and the 81.
Yep. So these two were keeping level times last time before the end of stage number 1, and in turn now holding similar times, but worth noting Height set the personal best of the session last lap with a 52.73, but Sosi knocking the door with a personal best, well, not a personal best, but a good lap of 52.87. Both cars running dead heats. It'll be interesting to see as they navigate the last corner here who will be the faster of the two. Sosi's really closed up that gap. It's a little bit of a poor exit. So as they come across the line here, checking the speedometers, it's going to be a 52.92 for Height, a 52.75 for Sosi. So it's going to be Sosi closing the door here and making it a top 2 battle between the two of them.
Caitlin Height now under fire from Susie. Only about 2 car lengths between them. The both of them just kind of taking it easy on each other right now. They know what they have, the equipment they have underneath them. They know the tire situation between the two of them, so they understand that they can't go crazy out here on this track. They're going to wait for each other to make the unforced error and try to take advantage there. But with these two veterans, that may be quite a while. Get your popcorn ready, because when it happens, it will happen. It'll be a battle for the ages. Austin Mongold has called it a night. He has pulled it behind the wall as a 3 and 81 almost made contact coming off turn 7.
81 really flexing the muscle there. Quick Sam Mongold, I think the import of Dr. Pepper's run out. I think he's ready to go back stateside to get some more. But you can see the 81 saying, hey, I'm here. We may be teammates, but we are probably the best chance to win the championship this season, or at least the regular season championship, and I'm going to flex my muscle here. We're teammates. We're not going to wreck each other, but I want that checker flag just as much as you want to, and if you leave me space, I'm going to capitalize. We'll go a little bit further back. Here's Peltier Sharp, obviously 1 lap down for passing the pace car for a Pedally. She's at position where she will get her lap back, but she's going to have to find a magical strategy beam if she wants to find a way to get back that track position she had for having to serve that Pedally.
Well, I think the challenge for her, too, is when do you come down pit road? Obviously, it's if you could come down before the end of the stages. 81 and 3 are battling for the lead.
Yeah, you can see right there. Height went just a bit wide. That's what happened last time by. This time, Sosi was ready, and he pounced. We'll take a look at the replay. You're going to see for the last couple corners here, the Williams machine just goes a bit wide, just enough for Sosi to come on in, say, excuse me, pardon me, and I'm coming through. 81 to the lead. Now the 3 is going to have to get back up on the horse and try again. But now with the Zier and Gaiman keeping her honest, she's going to have to worry about those cars filling up her mirrors.
Strong, clean pass by the 81. Josh Susie shows you the way, shows you how to get it done here at Suzuka Circuit. So great run for him. He will be back up to position number 1. Caitlin Height will be running in his wake for a little bit. Going back to my point on Sharp, the challenge for her now is when does she come down pit road? She could do it before the end of the stage, but she goes under risk of losing another lap if she does. If she stays out, she'll get her lucky dog, but only after everything cycles through. So in either situation, she's not going to be in a good way.
Yeah, and because of that, she needs a caution or something, but with cautions being far and few at road courses, she's going to have to hope for a miracle in order to make something happen. Again, one bright spot is she will get the lucky dog, but she'll be tailing the longest line with about 50 laps to go when we get to the end of the stage. She'll have to try to claw it up. Here's Josh Gaiman, currently sitting in 4th, Trout in 3rd, and Trout in 5th, Zier in 3rd, I should say. And Trout, only one with fresh tires in that little pack of 3 we're watching between Zier and Gaiman. Gaiman obviously did not come in under the last stop. Zier came in early around lap 20, or even earlier, 18, to come in for just fuel only. So Trout has that extra grip, but with Gaiman and Zier really using this clean out air and this clean track position to really show their speed here, it shows that even though tires can work and in turn get you better restarts, at the same point though, you don't need them as much because you can run similar times to the cars with the fresh stuff.
Well, again, it's about how do you manage the car underneath me? How do I manage my braking points? And how do I manage working on this car so it's smooth the entire way around? I'm not relying on my tires to do all the work for me, and I'm managing a good pace where I'm comfortable and can keep up with everybody around me. You know, we've seen that from your top 2 leaders right now, Caitlin Height and Joshua Susie. Susie doing a great job of managing his car, Caitlin Height doing the same. Zier came down Zier was the first one to come down So we know that she's doing a great job of managing her car. The 33, though, he's going to come down. He's going to choose to come down now. I think he's either out of fuel, out of rubber, or probably a combination of both.
A bit of both here. In turn, though, with presumably the rest of the field having to pit at the end of stage 2 here, it's going to allow him the same opportunity to hang out and try it again. Obviously, with the rest of the field all have to pit with the final stage, he's hoping that he can get the track position, cycle out, keep the gains, keep the spots, and then when everyone has to pit, recycle back to the lead and try to hang on with the old stuff. So not a bad call for Game for staying out here. He made it work. He just has to make sure he stays on the lead lap here, and he doesn't get back on the lead lap before the caution comes out. Away he goes, fuel only, not going to take tires, which is a Gaiman staple on the road courses, so he really feels confident in the no tire call here.
Very interesting call for him. I thought, with the time it takes to fill up your tank, you can at least put a pair of tires on your car. 2 tires will not be this call here, will not be the situation. If you wanted to put tires, it's 4 or nothing. And I was certain he would have put 4 on there. If it were me, I would have, because it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect my time.
Well, I will say one thing, the warm old tires can be a bit better with keeping times down, because you got to think about coming on the track with cold stickers. You're going to take a couple laps to get them warmed up, heated up, to get up to speed. The warm old tires are better in this short run here, so when he comes down maybe for his lap 70 stop or whenever he next comes in, maybe then he takes 2 tires there, but right now he wants to have the tires be warm so he doesn't have to be under pressure. In turn, with cold tires, maybe make a mistake, step on something and go way off and then lose a lap, and then have to try to gun it back down or else be at the tail end of the lead lap. So it seemed like it worked, and it is the same strat that worked for him in Sonoma to get him a P2. So in Gaiman, we maybe trust a little bit in his strategies, as he knows how to pull out some good strategies at this road course.
9 laps left in the stage. Susie still up front, Height second, no changes there. But I like to see her running on her own in third. DJ Trout about a car length behind her in fourth. And it'll be Dustin Hall in fifth. And Dustin Hall's got quite a bit of a battle on his hands as well. Behind him, the 9 of Eli Sasek at 6, and Ruby Nakamata in that mix as well. So the 12 having to fend off a couple drivers there, and with lap traffic in front of them in the form of Richard Odie, that could be a game changer. That could affect this whole battle right here between these 4 cars.
It easily could. You can see Nakamata trying to find a way around Sasek. We saw that battle through all stage 1 between the 2 of them, and Nakamata still cannot find the door. And Wygent, we're assuming, was going to be a class of the field qualified in the top 3, and actually I think possibly something happened between Trout and Zier. Yeah, something up front here.
Meanwhile, up front, it's going to be the 81 and 3, still side by side. Actually, check that back. It's going to be, let's say, back to the 93 and the 50 there. I like Zier overcooks it again in turn number 1, opens the door for Trout. So now score Trout position number 3.
Yeah, hearing some Trout, what I heard on the radio was the 93 got into the 50 in corner 8. That may have opened the door for Trout, obviously, to make that move on Zier heading off into 1. So in turn, kind of having to beat and bang just a little bit to make a move. We'll see if we can actually take a look at what happened here. At least the pass coming down the long straight. You can see the run off here. Going to be side by side. Now actually looks like we'll room back a little bit here. I think, yeah, we're back into corner 8 here. We'll see if there's any contacts here going low.
It already happened. It happened at the opening of that turn. Right at the beginning, right when they both came into the turn, the 93, I think it was inadvertent contact. I don't think he meant to make contact with the 50. The 50 might have chose a braking spot a little too early, or just missed the braking spot somewhere, and that led to the 93 to make inadvertent contact and ultimately open the door for the 93 to get into position number 3.
Yeah, unintentional contact, but at the end of the day, benefited the 93 all the same, but luckily the 50 didn't get totally dumped there. So obviously 50 not going to be too thrilled with it, but it could have been worse. Could have easily went around and lost all that track position. Back to live action, you can see that 3rd and 4th spot hanging out the way they are. But it should be worth noting, top 2 keeping it honest as well. Height and Sosi keeping their battle close here. Height, after making that mistake to allow the door open for Sosi, it shows that 81, I think, has a better short run car, but I think that 3 may have a better long-run car here.
The 81 just had a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 7-8. And the 81 looks like it's starting to get a little bit of wear out there right now. We know they're going to have to come down in the next 3 or 4 laps because I don't think they can make it all the way on fuel. They may be able to, but I don't know that they can. Either way, it wouldn't surprise me if they come in the next 2 or 3 laps before the stage ends. And the 81, if he does, he's definitely going to make an adjustment, some adjustment on that car because I don't think it's performing as well as he was hoping it would this time at this point. The 81 definitely has a short run car, but the 3 proving she can hang on for the long run.
Yeah, and she's definitely keeping that 81, her teammate, honest right now. One more thing to note as well, while we were covering those replays, there's actually the 3 is coming in this time by going to pit. Obviously not going to be enough to make it to, obviously, the end of this final stage here, but not enough to make it to the final stage, per se, with how the tank of fuel plays out. So coming in here again, trying to have the warm tires, try to make something happen, will be not joined by anyone else. So Sosi will keep the lead. Trout now up to second. Actually, Casey Ellis will come in, but Casey Ellis has already been in the pit lane as well. One more thing to note as well, while we're kind of recovering all that action, Nekomata finally got around Eli Sasek and put Nekomata now up to 4th. So Nekomata finally kind of won her battle with Sasek. It was a good pass too, but now Nekomata up to 4th, Sasek down to 5th, and Dustin Hall lost the cup spotters, and actually the 3 taking 4 tires here, going to take tires and fuel here. Going to have to be careful with the cold stickers not to make a mistake while they get up to speed.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the 3 decided to take 4 tires, and again, it's not a bad risk as you see the 4 go wide around the 3, trying to avoid trouble there. It's not a bad strategy because, again, for the same amount of time it takes to fill up that tank, you can get 4 tires on without taking a penalty. Sure, she'll have to be careful for the next couple laps, but we know everyone's going to cycle in here in about 2 laps, or when the stage closes in 4 laps. So we know everyone's getting primed to cycle in anyways. Why not go ahead and take that risk now, get some heat under your tires, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the race.
Meanwhile, Sosi, Trout, Hall, Braille, and Pendel all in this time by. Pit lane does not close for a couple more laps. Check and see, they're all taking 4 tires here. Sosi will take 4 along with Trout, so all of them taking these tires. This is going to promote gaming up a couple spots here just because he took fuel only on his run, even though there is concerns about his tires there. You can see him skate on by. So the lead now will be officially Gaiman's when stage 2 pit stops occur, but we'll have to keep an eye if the 3 can hang onto it with those little tires. Here's Lilac here on lap 48, about to come on the lap 48 here. Next time by, the pit lane will close. Pacey Wygent coming in this time by. So if you're going to pit, you got to pit now or the pit lane will be closed next time by. Braille just going to come ahead as Zier here, and Braille's got to be careful to not go a lap down.
But even if he does, that would, I believe, make him the lucky dog coming in. Yes, that is correct. The only other car a lap down right now is 71 of Peltier Sharp, who has a chance to be a lucky dog if everything works out correctly.
And this battle, that 44 has really backed up Lilacs here in the Nekomata and Sasek. So this is the battle for what could be the stage victory here, unless the 51 or 9 pull it down the pit lane here. But coming to the last corner, you can see right there, the 50 goes wide. The 1 going to stick it in, going to cut the grass just a little bit. And that's what you got to do sometimes. 1 going to make the move, put Nekomata to the lead. 2 to go in the stage. Pit lane officially closed. And now Nekomata's got to be careful to avoid the air wash. And Zier going to try to make a move back for first.
Pit lane officially closed at this point. It's all or nothing.
Zier overcooked it. Right there, going into the corner right there. Zier, Nekomata going to go wide on the grass. Now Sasek going to try to hang it around Nekomata. So Zier overcooked it a little bit, but got her spot back.
Nerves taking over for some of these drivers right now as they continue to battle around. Zier has a lot on her, a lot to manage right now. The 44 getting wiggly in front of her. The 1 fighting behind her. 2 good drivers in her way, and now the 50 has to do a little bit of driving on both sides. Avoid the 44 and avoid the 1. Not going to happen, though, as the 1 ducks down, ducks underneath the 50. The 1 takes the advantage. Ruby Nekomata hits the loud pedal, and at the end of stage number 2, as 1 more to go, is Ruby Nekomata in the lead.
Now this time, though, Zier not going to have the challenge here. She couldn't get the exit she needed, so that's going to give Nekomata no pressure heading off into 1 here. Sasek was thinking about maybe making a move on Zier, so those slightly older tires now affecting Zier just a bit on her grip levels, and in turn, if Nekomata can hang on to win this stage, they are going to send a nice fruit basket to Jeremy Braille, who is pretty much been a nice little treat for that 50. I'm sorry, the one that helped the 50. As they come to the second half of the sector here, Nakamata still in smooth sailing, but got to be careful not to make a mistake like we saw Zier did through the last couple corners. As they got 2 more corners to go here, Nakamata looking to have smooth sailing. Looks like she'll hit that corner successfully. And as she comes off the last corner here, Ruby Nakamata will win stage number 2 here. Lilac Zier second, Eli Sasek third. Bit of a quick call there for the stage end there. But Nakamata, Zier, Sasek, Robert, Thompson, Swatsworth, Crivelli, Frazier, Clavitt, Boone, your top 10. And Crivelli getting double stage points here. One of the few drivers that can say they did.
I believe that's the only driver, or the only driver they can say they did out here. Let's take a look again at your unofficial top 10 to end stage number 2. Ruby Nakamata, your winner. Lilac Zier in second. Zier, again, had that position wrestled away by Nakamata on the second to last lap. So, interesting to see how Lilac Zier is going to bounce back from that. Eli Sasek third. Martin Roberg in fourth. Selena Thompson walks away with a top 5. Shad Swatsworth, Robert Crivelli, Lily Frazier, Dean Clavette, and Matthew Boone, your top 10, all getting stage points.
Yep, all good. I think Eli Sasek also got stage points in 1 and 2 as well. So again, with a lot of drivers coming at the end of the stage, drivers you think would have been poised to get stage points, giving up those points for the chance to win this race. And in turn, we're taking a look at that replay. You can see the move that one did on the 50. I believe this is the second attack at it. Was first time, actually. Thank you for the correction there, race control. You can see now Zier going to try to make a move here. Gets the good run off the corner. Keep an eye on the right front here, because this is what's going to cause the contact. See right there? Puff of smoke. She locked it up just a bit. Ends up dooring the one. And then they'll be side by side here, and you can see right there the one says, you know what, I'll live the fight another day here. I can make that move again if I get the opportunity, and wants to ensure that there won't be any major scraps.
Mark driving by the number 1 as you continue watching her here. Look for her at the end of the run at turn number 7, that hard right turn, hard flat right turn going towards the start-finish line. That's where the number 1's really going to make her move. She's going to pan it perfectly out there. There you go. She dives right in. The 50, I think, locked it up again a little bit there, and then the 1 just takes over, hitting the accelerator and really taking off. Great jump on that, and she never gives away the lead from there. She goes in the lap 50 and the leader and comes away as your stage 2 winner.
Yep, that's a great win for her, as they get a good little bonus there for their, actually, she's a road course winner, so not a lot of good points for her, but just good overall confidence booster. It could help her in the final stage. Pit lane, a very crowded place right now. A lot of drivers like to come in. Top 8 electing to stay out. As you can see, Nakamata will win the race off the pit lane, with Zier in second and Roberg in third. Just going to take a quick check here. They all took 4 tires and fuel, but more importantly, up front, Blake Henderson electing to stay out here. Last pitted on 27. He and Gaiman, actually, Henderson came in at the stage break. He's doing what Gaiman did at the end of stage 1. Gaiman next up came in at 39, and then you got the rest of the crew with fuel for both those drivers, and then you got third on down with 4 tires of fuel coming at 46, 45, and 47 around those lap times.
Bad news for Lily Peltier Sharp. She was not the lucky dog this time around. That went to the 94 of Christopher Pendel, who went 1 lap down at the very end of the stage. So that costly mistake by the 71 will end up costing her some major position, as she will stay 1 lap down on the field. Up front, Ruby Nakamata it should be, when everything gets worked out, the 25 of Blake Henderson in front, Gaiman in second, Susie third, Caitlin Hyde fourth, and DJ Trout your top 5.
The other thing that hurts is that with her positioning with those cars staying out, she will not have any chance to get the wave around as well, just being pinned. So her race is kind of just effectively over unless a sport ender happens, a track blocker. So she's just going to have to try to hang on and hope more cars crash out and just try to net gain in these spots. Got the 1 to go that time by. It is going to be Henderson, Gaiman, the fuel-only crew in row 1. Then you'll have Sosi and Height in row 2, the 2 drivers that have been dominating this race. Row 3 will be Trout and Wygant. Hall and Braille will be row 4. Nakamata and Zier in row 5, having the freshest tires of the car that pitted. Here's also a race summary. 48 laps to go, only 2 cautions, which were the stage break enders, 5 caution laps, and 8 lead changes, with about half of those coming under the stage breaks here.
So when we go back to green flag racing, it will be the 25 of Blake Henderson leading his first laps under green flag. Josh Gaiman, who had a good run up front and struggled on the second restart, will restart position number 2. We'll see if he's learned anything from his restart and if he's going to be able to do something as a result of learning those lessons. The 81 and 3, who were your leaders for most of stage number 2, will start in row number 2. The 93 00 has finally found his way back up in the field. Pacey Wygen officially scored position number 6. He might be playing the long game here, trying to save everything in order to have a top 3 finish, if not win the race.
You know what, flying on the radar is sometimes not a bad thing. Valentine kind of did it at Sonoma. We've seen it throughout tons of other series, as you and I both call, Joe. Sometimes the drive you're not thinking about can be the one that finds their way into victory lane, so have to keep an eye on that 00 and see exactly what they can do. The pace car comes through the last couple corners here. It's going to take the lonesome trip down to pit lane about maybe 10 seconds here. The question is, can Henderson Gaiman keep their tires under them and not spin them heading off into 1?
All will be answered here as a safety car makes a hard left turn, or right turn, down pit road. The 25, the 33, side by side. They will be your contenders here at Suzuka Circuit. Which one will have the better restart? Did Gaiman learn anything off restart number 2? We will find out here as the lights go green at Suzuka Circuit. It is the 25's the lead. Green flag out in the air, and we are back to racing. Henderson, Gaiman side by side.
Fog making it hard to see. We'll see if either driver get contact here. Henderson well clear, but you can see, Henderson goes wide. This is going to make it a race off into 1 here. You keep an eye on the low side of your screen. It's going to be Gaiman sneaking through. He will take the lead. Henderson with a bad blend just bodied the 3, and now Wygen and Height going to be battling here. Height will hold the spot, but up front it is Gaiman and Sosi 1-2. And we'll hopefully get our race producer back here so we can see what happened. But right now, still focusing on Henderson. And right now, he's got to get back on the horse and keep those spots if he doesn't want to fall more.
But great reaction by Height to not turn this into a sport-ending incident. That could have been very, very ugly. Instead, Caitlin Height takes a deep breath, says, I'll come back for him, and does exactly what she needs to do. Defensive driving wins championships. Up front, Joshua Gaiman finally has found the car underneath him, and he is going to continue to lead some laps here under green. Josh Susi, who's had a strong car all night, is going to give him one heck of a fight.
Don't count out DJ Trout keeping on with the pace here, holding station in P3 as well, ready to capitalize if things happen. But Gaiman will have to pit a bit earlier here, have a little bit of chaos in the back. Big David Smeal is around backwards. He will get it refired on the track. So not a sport ender, but look at that battle for second between the 81 and the 93. Trout and almost try to make a move on that Hello Kitty machine.
The 81, the 93, having a great battle between them right now. The 93 of Trout starting to find some confidence in his car. The Vitamin Water machine starting to pick up a little bit of pace out there. He knows he's got a machine that can fight for wins. He now just has to believe in himself a little bit to get back to the 81. The 81's just been very strong all night long, and the 81 definitely has a shot to win it. I've got a feeling between him and the 33, it's going to come down to pit strategy and who can manage their tires and car the best.
One thing is Gaiman will pit earlier than Sosi. That is just the nature of the beast. Internally, Gaiman, even though it's about tire management and perseverance, Gaiman has not elected to take any fresh tires on the machine. Sosi has. So if Gaiman elects to maybe take 4 tires at his stop, Sosi elects to take none, it could shake up just a bit enough for Sosi to get that spot. But obviously, that is pure speculation, and we know Gaiman probably is going to take no tires on his final stop too. He's going to run 100 laps on one set if you give him the opportunity to do it. But right now, it is still Gaiman leading the way. Sosi hounding the back of him. Gaiman's also got to be careful not to make a mistake here, as sometimes he's prone to do.
So Gaiman, Susi, 1 and 2 right now. DJ Trout has backed off quite a little bit. So he will stay in position number 3. Meanwhile, back behind them, a lot of battles brewing right here. Blake Henderson holding off the 3, holding off the 00, and holding off the 12 of Dustin Hall. I've got a feeling that the 25 is in a good spot right now, but he knows that there's a lot of drivers behind him who are hungry to get around him and start fighting some fights.
Fighting fights, hopefully not putting out fires because of those fights. We'll have to wait out. Looking a little bit further back here, we're keeping on this battle. Obviously, is the main thing on screen. You don't want to cut away from this right yet. Henderson doing a good job holding up a kind of a queue here. Lost about 1.5 seconds to Trout, Sosi, and Gaiman, but he's keeping that P4 lockdown at the moment and making it a net gain for him. As you can see in the far shot right there, even though it's kind of hard to see because of the fog, Henderson's got a big old freight train behind him. As drivers hang behind longer, they're going to get antsy. But look at Sosi trying to change lines, trying to get some air on. There's the cue I was talking about. And you know Caitlin's not going to be too thrilled to hang on there for too long. She may be poised to maybe use the fender, maybe a couple laps if this gap continues to grow.
The 25 continuing to hold off the 3. The 3, though, starting to get impatient, starting to try to find where she can make her move. Through the S's, not quite yet. She's going to have to figure out if she can dive down and try to get the 25 on that last right-hand turn. The 25 still holding him off, so he will stay in front of the 3 for one more lap. But I'm also curious to see what happens with the 3 and the double zero there. The double zero made it very close to making contact with the 3, and the 3 and double zero almost had some calamity back there. So that's going to be the battle to watch.
Yeah, if you're a Henderson fan right now, I know the college football game just released today, but you can probably see the defense signs up in the Suzuka faithful and our virtual chat here telling Henderson to hang on. Checked up to the lead there. You can see right now it's still Gaiman Sosi. Sosi keeping Gaiman honest, but right now back to the battle for 4th position. You can see Height using this SX to her advantage. He's trying to get in the corners. Right there, gave a little bit of a tap to Henderson saying, hey, get it going, or we're going to make you get it going. So Henderson has to really be on the horn and either keep his pace up or have to really make a move. And you can turn, you can also see other drivers getting antsy as well. I saw Nekomata kind of running high groove there, just trying to find any sort of grip to maybe make something happen. Back to the front though, Trout reeling in the top 2, but it's still Gaiman, Sosi, Trout as we've just hit lap 60.
Gaiman, Sosi, Trout, still plenty of distance between those 3 cars. The ones to watch right now are Gaiman and Sosi, who are about 0.3 away from one another. Both of them keeping very, very good pace, very strong pace between them. The 93 is still in the conversation, but not by much. He's about a second away from Gaiman and 0.7 from Sosi. So these guys all doing battle, all fighting amongst each other. And, it's still going to be a good fight. But right now, the 33-81 doing a great job pacing each other, great job making each other wait patiently as they decide when and how they're going to settle this.
Yeah, they keeping it. Just don't want to make a problem worse here. You do not want to, especially in the spot right now, if you're Wygen or Height, you do not want to rule the wrath here of the stewards. Look at Dustin Hall, though, trying to make a move on Wygen. Saw the door open. He will spin Wygen. 4 or 5 cars. This could be the track block here that could bring out a caution. Sasek as well. We are still green. Multiple cars stopped on the spot. We'll see if anything gets thrown here, but Wygen spins around. Hall spins it as well. We'll have to take a look at that again. Still stop Nekomata. Cars still fanning out. Dangerous spot for Nekomata to be parked. Everyone else now navigated through. Nekomata will fire through here as well, but a lot of good cars just lost the race because of that.
Lots of good cars involved in that incident. Let's take you back to it and see what exactly happened there. We're going to follow along with a double zero right here going into that last left turn. And it looks like the 12 and double zero, the 12 tried to make the move, wasn't successful at it, collects the double zero on the second attempt, and that brings about 5-6 different cars to injury as well there. So 6 cars involved, starting with a 12 and double zero chain of events that ultimately but certainly hamper some drivers.
And Height cleared Henderson. While we were watching that kind of calamity, Height was finally able to get around Henderson. So we'll take a look at that too while we were kind of watching the aftermath of that incident. And you can see heading off into 1 here. We'll see exactly what occurred. Oh, Henderson went very defensive. Height said, thank you very much. I'll rip it around the high side and make it successfully happen. So put the 3 up to now P4. Henderson, though, has got about 3 seconds to Lilac's ear, so Henderson kind of can set sail here. But let's come back up to the lead here. It is very close between the top 3. You can see almost you can separate them by a ham sandwich.
That's a good way to put it. I like that. That all collected up the 33, the 81, the 93, and now throw a blanket over them because that's how close they are. The 33 has to do a little bit of rear view mirror driving right now as it gets up to as the 81 all over the back bumper, and the 93 is going to hold some pace in the back. Just kind of watch them, wait for one of them to make a mistake before he makes a move. The one I'm curious to watch, though, is the 3 of Caitlin Height. She's got a lot of distance to make up on them. Can she make it all the way up, though? That's the question.
I think right now helping her will be Gaiman leading this train. If Sosi or Trout take the lead of this train, I think that is going to hurt the odds. But in point, she needs Gaiman to lead that train. But right now, remember, we saw it's about 20, 25 laps on a tank of fuel here from what we're estimating. Gaiman came in at 39. Right now, at that window where we're going to see Gaiman come in within maybe T-minus 5 laps here. Trout goes very wide, though, right now. Going to come back up, no pressure behind. But now that's leaving it back to a two-horse race between Gaiman and Sosi. And Sosi, right now, not really has to press the issue too much, knowing Gaiman will pit before he does, and then he can go into hot lap mode. But then with his pit stop looming, got to make sure that his lap counts. So we'll see what Sosi's game plan is here. Is it better to ride behind or get around that 33?
So far, the 81 giving the 33 plenty of room. Again, I think the 81's just trying to wait for the 33 to either, one, come down pit road, or two, make an unforced error. We know the 33 is on a completely different pace as everybody else, as we see the 94 of Pendel get into the grass and everyone's forced to get around him. We know the 33 is on a completely different strategy than everybody else, so this may end up being a battle of pit strategies. Who has the better one, and who's going to use it better to their advantage going through the rest of this race?
Sosi doing the move he did on Caitlin Height. He kind of like flexing the muscle there, showing it. Because you saw that's the corner he set up to make the move to head down the long straight. And right now he's getting the grip to do it, but Gaiman showing that veteran experience, not allowing that 81 to get the lunge he needs to do to get that opportunity. Right now, no lap traffic. They're at poise to catch. First car they would catch is the 21 Alfred Denny, but that's about 3-4 corners away. Worth noting as well, keep an eye on that timing scoreboard as it flashes around. Caitlin Height is gaining a few tenths a lap. She will get there before the end of this race. The question is, at what state will she get there and when? In turn, she's also got to catch Pendel here, which could slow her down just a little bit.
And this is the advantage of getting tires late in the race. Yes, we saw her get tires at her last pit stop before the green checkers came out for stage number 2. You know, now they're warmed up. Now they're definitely ready to go. And with those extra tires, with those newer tires, she may be able to get a little bit faster out there. Meanwhile, back in towards the rear, the 50 of Lilac Zier has crossed the 25 now. And now Lilac Zier is back in top 5 position.
Yep, top 5 indeed. Henderson, obviously, that's how much time he was losing over those tires. And also, in turn, not running the best of times right now. So he's now fallen back into the hornet's nest between Zier and Frazier, and Henderson's will be the first one to blink here to try to get some fresh rubber on that 25. But still, that game for track condition paid off quite dividendly as he's still inside the top 10. A net gain for Henderson, who's just looking to find some time here. Next, coming up to the next lap by, we'll check the times between the top 4 here, see who is the fastest out of this group of 4 here. So as they come across the line right now, checking the stopwatches, Gaiman runs a 53.436 for his troubles. Same dead heat between Sosi. Trout ran a little bit slower, but fastest out of the 4 is Caitlin Height, obviously with a 53.25. That's a gimme because she's got the cleanest air, while Sosi, Trout all have to kind of run similar times to Gaiman because Gaiman's kind of in that line. A little bit further back here, here's Blake Henderson, and you can see Zier lock up her tires just a bit.
Zier locks up. Zier is running very fast right now. Even though she had to lock up her tires, she definitely recovered from it very quickly. And it would not surprise me if the top 3 quickly become a top 5 position, because you said it right there. They both, the 3 and the 50, both have great position. They both have clean track. They both have saved quite a bit of their cars. So it would not surprise me if they end up catching the top 3 very, very quickly out here on the track, which is why I said earlier, this race could be won or lost on pit road. No matter how you do it, no matter how you cut it, you all still have to come down pit road one more time. The question is, when do you do it, and how do you do it in order to try to undercut your competitors?
I will say, Lily Frazier's doing a great job filling in for Constantinu today, as Constantinu was suspended. Would have been obviously the threat to win this race, but obviously lost. But she won the Coke 600, so she's got to win regardless. But right now, doing a great job, though, Frazier is trying to get around Henderson here as they battle for 6th position. worth noting as well, in the top 10, Clavitt, the biggest gainer, up 16 spots before he qualified. He's one of the biggest movers. The next two are obviously the two cars on our screen, with both Frazier and Henderson to boot. Here's Lilac. See, that's Christopher Pendles. He already got around, but it's just the same thing that was happening previously is happening now. Henderson's doing a great job holding up the defense signs and is going to have to force the car behind to really make a move if they want to get around.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's right now it's all about that strategy, all about figuring out where you want to sit, where you want to make everything work in order to come back around. A driver who just did come down pit road, I noticed, was the 17 of Zachary Meredith. He just came down the attention of his crew and is now off pit road. He's a lap down, but he may know something that everyone else doesn't right now. If he can get around everybody when they come down their pit stops, he may be able to cycle through and improve his position.
Could be a net gain, as you can see right there. Frazier making a move on Henderson. Just can't get it done with the S sections. It's a tricky corner as it favors the car on the low side. You can also see one of the cars mow the grass there. I think that was Roberg that went a little wide there. Back up to the lead. Sosi on the quarter panel game, and they're going to have a shoot down the straight here. And right now, side by side, we'll see if Sosi, who can keep out drag, heading off into one.
The 81 has the advantage going into turn number 1. Will the 33 be able to catch him on the high side? 81 dives in, 33 behind him, and we have a new leader. Joshua Susi back up front, Josh Gaiman in second, and DJ Trout trying to feed off the remains, see if he can't get a position as well.
Now the question is, can Gaiman keep up with the times of Sosi? Because we saw Sosi Gaiman running dead heat times with Gaiman was leading the train. In turn, they're both going to catch Dotson here in a bit bad of a spot. This could open the door for Trout to make a move on Gaiman, or even Gaiman to make a move on Sosi, because Dotson's on 4 fresh tires here to try to make a run. Also in the field, Henderson just pitted along with Brault. They're both in their box right now, both leaving. There is a chance they could come on our screens here in a second as they both leave pit lane now. So keep an eye on this battle for the lead. Sosi getting the pole there. That time by way quicker, 53.22 to a 53.77 for Gaiman.
Josh Susi now way out in front of those drivers as the 31 DeMonte Dotson gets way off track, does not want any piece of the leaders coming through, and I think that was a good defensive move by the 31 just to get out of the way, let the leaders do their racing. Could have done a little less dramatic, though, if I may say so myself. Susi in the lead is starting to get a great lead as he gets a wiggle there through the S turns, opens the door for the 33, and we could have another battle for the lead.
Gaiman obviously almost was under. It's weird how you go from a have to have not here. Gaiman was under pressure into one by Trout. Now with that slight mistake, Gaiman's going to be on the horn here against Sosi. This is Sosi's magical corner, though. He's able to get a good run. DJ Trout coming in, though. He is going to pit here. He is going for the undercut. He wants to get the track position here. We saw it work at Montreal for him in the Truck Series. We'll see if it can do the same thing again here. And 93 in along with Sharp, Odie, and Ellis, but Odie and Ellis have been there for a long time.
Yes, they have been, so all eyes continue to be on Sosi. He is how he's able to manage his car. We saw him make one mistake through the S's. Will he make another one on the rope as well? So Susi continues to be first. Gaiman not far behind in second, and Caitlin Heighton has moved her way up to position number 3 with the pit of Trout. So now your top 3, the fastest 3 cars on the field all night, are within striking distance of one another. The question becomes, who's going to be the first to throw their hand out the window and go down pit lane?
And with Trout pitting, this has to be in the back of their minds. You do not want to open the undercut. Well, there goes Sosi. He is in. So I thought Gaiman was going to be the first one of the 3 to pit. He is going to go the longest here. Is this going to be detrimental, or is there a method to the madness for that 33? We'll find out shortly. The next question is, with also Caitlin Height staying out, the next question is, keep an eye on Sosi. Can Trout lunge Sosi with just 1 lap of undercut?
Watching Joshua Sosi as he comes to the attention of his crew. This should be a fuel-only stop for the 81. Yes, it will be. No tires going on. The Hello Kitty machine down and away. Quick stop. So he will be able to cycle through pretty easily with that. That being said, we have another couple takers for Pitts Road. Alfred Denny will come down to the attention of his crew, as will the 15 of Robert Crivelli.
Yeah, Trout took 2 tires while Sosi only took fuel only. So that is why the gap was so big. Gaiman, I think coming in this time by, I heard it on the radio calls. Yeah, he is in. So he is in this time by. I think the 3 is going to stay out. They will. She is going to go the longest here to try to make something happen, wanting this clean track, at least try to do something with it, and she will inherit the lead. Now the question is, Gaiman, Fuel only for him. We're checking the stopwatches. It looks like it's possibly going to be longer. Still in his box yet. So the question is, how much fuel does he need to get to the end? In turn, can he get ahead of that 81?
It's all going to come down to what you can do with the car when you're back on the track. And with about 26 laps left when we cross the start-finish line again, this is basically going to be a stage within a stage. How do you manage a car? How do you manage the traffic? How do you manage other traffic as you work through the field? All these questions will have to be answered as these drivers try to figure out where they want to go. Height now comes down pit road, and we'll see exactly what happens. Expect no tires, but a full tank of fuel.
Yep, this will Lilac Zier to the lead here. As long as she doesn't come in, she is not coming in. So it'll be Zier, Frazier, Roberg, Swatsworth, Boone, your top 5. Right now, the top 8 have yet to make their pit stops yet. If Sosi gets his way around Hall here, he's really pushing that 12. He knows he's got to make something happen. 12 not going to come in that time by. That's going to back up Sosi a little bit more and allowing Gaiman to slowly reel back in. But Sosi going to go on the low side here. Keep an eye on the low side of the screen. 3 leaving her box now. Did she do enough to stay close to this battle? She will fall first into second, but she'll swat right between Trout and Gaiman here, just ahead of DJ Trout. Actually, that's Ruby Nekamata, so even ahead of DJ Trout, Height is. So Trout's 2 tires may have been a bit of a detrimental strategy as the rest of the top 3 took fuel only.
Well, Lilac Zier will be your leader at this time. Is she going to come down pit road? No. I think she thought about it. I think she hesitated there for a second, but decided I'm going to go ahead and run a few more laps out here, see if I can extend this even further and try to get a jump on everybody else out there. Lily Frazier, the 57, will be in position number 2, and I believe that moves Martin Roberg, who was one of the first to come down pit road. He will go up to position number 3 as a result of the cycling through. Strategy's all starting to play out.
Yeah, strategy's playing out. Height did reel in Gaiman a lot by using those extra laps, but you can see right now how the muscle has flexed. Sosi got about a second-half gap on Gaiman. Gaiman has a second-half gap on Height. And with not a lot of traffic coming up the road for Sosi here, he's got some clean track till he'll get to Apperson and Wygent. Wygent getting spun around. Obviously, he's not going to be a spring chicken here per se, or someone that's going to get out of the way. We'll see if any of those cars play a factor, because right now, if you're Gaiman or Height, you are going to need maybe a little bit of help with some of that lap traffic to back Sosi and that Hello Kitty machine up to you to give yourself a chance.
Meanwhile, up front, Zier has basically a time zone to herself right now. Nobody else around her. Lily Frazier, Martin Roberg trailing quite a bit from the number 50 machine. She had Swatsworth currently in 4th, but Swatsworth will have to come down pit road as Swatsworth goes wide out of turn number 1. So Swatsworth is definitely struggling in that car. We'll have to see exactly what they can do. Matthew Boone in 5th, Casey Wygent in 6th. A couple cars struggling coming off of that first turn there. And I've got a feeling that's only going to increase before pit stops happen.
Yeah, I think it will. Let's see if Zier's coming this time by. Boone, I think, so on the radio, he's coming in. He will give up his top 5 spot. Zier going to stay out a little bit longer. Here's Matthew Boone. He said something on the radio. We'll see if that was that or if he was battling these cars and kind of saying something. He is not coming in, but that car 2 back will. And they will pull on in Kansas to see who it was. It's Pacey Wygent. So Wygent going to give up 6. That's going to promote Sosi, who presumably, when the rest of the cars pit, will cycle to the lead. So now Sosi up to 6, but here you can see the 57 Frazier and 35 Roberg having a big old battle here for second.
Position number 2 up for grabs. Again, Frazier will have to come down pit road eventually. Roberg already came down pit road, so Roberg may not have to do anything. He just has to outlast the 57 of Frazier right now. Swatsworth, we know, also have to come down pit road. Matthew Boone, 28, I don't believe he's come down pit road just yet. So these are still in flux. These are not final positions. These are still positions that are in flux right now and are and will be subject to change as pit strategies come to play.
Yeah, they will. As we can see now, Lilac Zier in. Our leader has officially given up the lead. She is coming on in. That will presumably put Roberg to the lead and Frazier the second. But now you can see you can see Sosi catching up. And as you can see on the nice little graphic, he will be our race leader when it all cycles through. Just do a little bit of cleanup right now. We have 24 cars on the lead lap as we speak. We do have 26 cars still running. 5 cars have taken it behind the wall here with 22 laps to go here. We'll see if anything else shakes up at the moment. But right now, Josh Sosi ready to inherit the lead, but Martin Roberg still leading this race.
Roberg leading this race, and again, I think he can go all the way. I think he may be able to stretch this as long as he wants after getting the lead from Willie Frazier coming off of turn number 7 and 8. So Martin Roberg right now in a great position, in a catbird seat, if you will, as all he's got in front of him is lap traffic. How long will Roberg stay out? So Willie Frazier comes in this time by with nothing left to defend. She'll go ahead and go to the attention of her crew and get filled up.
Yep, so that will promote a few more cars up to the spot. Looking at some of the times, Bo, Caitlin Height just set a purple sector 1 last lap. She wants to make a challenge here on Gaiman and maybe try to get back to Sosi if she can. There you can see how close the top 3 still are. They're holding dead even times. That's why I was saying it's either going to be a mistake or it's going to be a car backing up to another one in order to allow an opportunity to make something happen. Here's Martin Roberg, only about 6-7 seconds ahead of this battle, who will be the race leader of Joshua Sosi at the moment. And then in turn, you can see Swats for making up the mirrors. But one thing to know as well is we're about to hit 20 laps to go. The sun is finally starting to shine. We can finally kind of see some of the beautiful Japan countryside.
Slowly starting to shine, and that could have a minor effect on the track as we close out this race. 20 laps to go at this juncture. Roberg continues to lead. Swatsworth in second, Boone third. Josh Sosi will move up to position number 4 this time after and Joshua Gaiman moves up into the top 5. So still plenty of racing left to do. Don't count anybody out except for those we know may not be able to make it all the way on fuel.
I think we're going to see a 57 here stop somewhere here. As now they've gotten it fired back up. You can also see a few of the cars pull off. There's 71 of Sharp going wide. That's going to hurt our current race leader. There's the 57. They've gotten a little bit of trouble somewhere around this track. But that's going to back Roberg up just a bit, even though Roberg will still have to pit here. It's just a question of if, not when. Well, now we ride aboard with the 35 machine. Will he come down this time by? He will not. So he's going the long haul here, hoping for something to happen.
57 already came down pit road after she was done defending position with 35 of Roberg, so she's already good. She's good for the rest of the race, but she is right now, if memory serves me correctly, she is at the very tail end of the lead lap, so once she gets passed by Roberg, she will then be the first car 1 lap down. Lily Peltier-Sharp trying to fight her, I think, for that distinction of being the first car lap down. We'll see how that battles out, but Roberg right now giving those 2 drivers plenty of space. He does not want to be involved in their fight. He just wants to be able to run his race and conserve as much as he can to get to the green flag.
Gaiman is slowly reeling in Joe Sosi here. Gap has fallen a little bit here. Last time by, for reference, it was faster. Actually, Gaiman was faster than Sosi by well over 6-7 tenths. So I wonder if Sosi made a slight mistake. As you can see, that gap is closing in. Another mistake by Sosi, way wide, clips the grass. That's going to give more time up for Gaiman here to catch, but Gaiman gets a little loose as well off exit, so both drivers kind of negate themselves here with 18 laps to go.
So Roberg right now is the wild card. Will he have to come down pit road? Like I said, I believe we saw him come down pit road earlier, so he may be good. He's the wild card right now for Sosi, for Gaiman, for Height. The would-be top 3, the presumed top 3, all have plenty of racing left to do in front of them, but with less than way to go, they really have to start turning up the pressure. They have to do something to get ahead there and start fighting with Josh Sosi.
I will say, Roberg, Swatsworth, Boone, all on the same strategy. Both all came at lap 51, which would have been the end of stage number 2. So we'll see, again, if maybe they can find that magical fuel number here, but I just don't think the odds are likely. But they are going the longest here because they were pretty much further back anyway outside the top 10, so why not just roll the dice here and hope something plays out in your factor, maybe divine intervention if need be. But right now, Sosi's still expected to take the lead when it pits out. You can also see that 3 again, getting a little bit closer to that 33. So Gaiman right now in a Lady Liberty sandwich. We'll be trying to find a way as he goes a little bit wide. That's the thing that the 3 needed to get even closer to that 33. And now the question is, these 2 fight. That's what Sosi wants to see, is that's going to give him more breathing room. But in turn, if they're going to fight, they're going to have to settle quickly if one of them want to catch that 81.
Caitlin Hyde has not made a mistake so far this race. She's run a very clean, very strong race, and I know she's not going to be happy finishing in position number 3. Yes, it's podium, but but everyone likes silver better than bronze. So watch for height now to slowly start pacing the 33, slowly working it so she can make her move. And it would not surprise me in turn 7 there if she goes ahead and makes the dive in to get past the 33.
It's getting good traction with her grip right now, really taking care of the tires to get that grip. Still a little bit further back right now. Gaiman a little bit hard, a little odd on the brakes there. Was watching him, got a little kicked out just a small bit, but that's gonna allow height to really run, and she feels like she's on rails right now. But just look up the road right there. You can see outside, you can see all that traffic that Hello Kitty machine's about to hit. He's got Matthew Boone and a bunch of lap cars in front of him. So this could easily be the thing that's gonna hurt Sosi here in a second if he's not careful, especially with them scrapping in front of him. You can see the 21 of Denny just going to get out of the way, not going to play a factor here. But now you got Boone, who is for position, Swatsworth, who's in this battle, is for position, and Pelletier Sharp, who's just probably not going to move, even if you ask her nicely.
No, I think she is going to be the rolling chicane, especially when you consider who's coming up to face her. Susie Gaiman, and of course Caitlin Height. That could cause a little bit of trouble here as we continue to drive on. Swatsworth still second, Boone's still third, and Susie's going to have to start making some decisions here as he gets closer and closer to that traffic core position and the 71.
Sosi doing what he needs to do right now, but we saw last time the driver hit some traffic, it ended up being to the detriment of the driver. Now we'll see again, will Boone be nice? Obviously no allegiance between the two of them. Boone obviously drives for Unforgiven, and the Hello Kitty machine of Joshua Sosi drives for Lady Liberty. And you can see Sharp trying to make possibly a move up the road there on Swatsworth. Again, no allegiances, so you can't even call team orders or respect. The only respect they will give is if they want to show the respect here. Look at those. Sharp going to try to make move on Swatsworth, not for a position, but just for pride.
Sometimes you need the moral victory. You know, sometimes you just need to take the moral victory and call it at that as the end of the day. So Sharp still scored in 25th, but still passing cars, still showing off. If everything worked out, I would have had a car that could have competed. So, you know, that being said, the battle still is around the 81 of Susie, as he needs to get around the 28th to pick up position on Boone. He's also got the 18 of Swatsworth to worry about, and then there's Robert in the 35. The man who would be king continues to extend his run. Now on lap 87, nope, the run is over. He's going down pit road, and that means Swatsworth and the 18 will have to come down pit road here in a minute too.
Yeah, Swatsworth's in, Boone is staying out. Now there's technically a battle for the lead as Boone and Sosi side by side. This would be for position. Boone will still have to pit, but in turn, Sosi probably has to, does he press the message here? Does he try to make something happen? You can see right there, Boone goes wide, opens his door, and the mailman will send it, and he will now be in the lead of this race, not even have to wait for the whole pit stop cycle to play out. So Sosi to lead, now Gaiman and Height will have to quickly navigate around this 28 if they want to stay within touch distance of Sosi.
13 laps to go, 12 when we cross the start-finish line. Sosi will be back in the lead. The 28 will be forced to pit. Will open the door for Gaiman and Caitlin Height. 1, 2, 3, they continue to run. I think the 33 and 3, the 3s are all waiting for the 28 to pit and get out of the way so they can go start chasing down the 81. The longer the 28's out there, the better it is for the 81 because he knows he's got a big buffer that will help to block him from his two biggest competitors.
Buffers always play a factor when you need it. Boone is still doing a great job right now, keeping second, but he'll eventually have to pit. Josh Arnold also pitting as well. He was one of the last two drivers still yet to make their pit stop. He is in game, and knowing how important it is, he is forcing the issue in the S section. He will get around. Now the question is, can Height follow suit here? She's going to have to follow just as well, and she's actually probably thanking Gaiman just a bit. Made that move easy for her because of Gaiman's aggression. So all three, our top three, will get around. Next car up the road will be the 71. After that, there'll be 3 more cars, including Dodson, actually 4, with Dodson and the 25. So there's a good chance they will catch that traffic, but after that, it's going to be pretty smooth down for Sosi. So as long as Sosi can keep navigating through the traffic without too much pain, he should be able to at least bring this thing home. 12 laps to go, now 11. Matthew Boone also in, giving up 4th position.
The question that I have as we continue to track down laps is the 71 going to play a wild card in this factor? She had a great chance at potentially winning this race before the penalty, and as we both know, Kevin, hell hath no fury like as a woman scorned. So will the 71 end up playing a wild card? Could she have a factor in deciding this race? We'll find out in 11 laps to go here, but still, 3 drivers all trying to figure out who wants to win this race.
Oh, car spinning up ahead here. You're going to see it on our screen in a second here. Off the road, it's the 17 of Meredith. All 3 cars will get around, though. That could easily been a bit of a problem. We saw that at Sonoma, too, where cars spun in front of Rudy Valentine, tore the front and clipped off Valentine. So all it takes is one car making a slight mistake in front of you, and it can put you in a hole that may be hard to dig out of. But right now, Sosi still leading the way. 10 laps to go. Well over 10 and some change miles, and well over 10 minutes for some of these drivers to try to find and pick up the tune if they want to take this win. As we ride on board here with Gaiman, who's doing whatever he can to find a way around, but looking at the times, he is clearly the slowest out of the 3 as he's running about the 53.7 bracket, while Sosi and Height are in the 53.3s.
Last dance for everyone else. It's closing time, so figure out how fast you want to be and how much you want to push this car, trying to get to the front. Josh Susi doing a great job up front, staying up front. But now here comes the 33. Here come the 3. They are nose to tail with each other, about a car length between them. They want to fight. They want to catch up to the 81 to see if they can make one last shot at taking away the win from the very dominant 81 team right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the traffic up the road. There will be some more cars Sosi will have to catch. You'll see just ahead of Arnold, who we're riding on board with. You got the 57, the 71, the 31 of Dotson, all up the road here, and some of them are for position. You're going to see Sosi get around Arnold, not going to put too much of a fight. Also going to say, hey, thank you for not making this bad. But you can see Sharp in a second here. She is still battling that 57. This is Gaiman and 3 get around as well. So there's going to be the kryptonite possible for the 81 if he's not careful, as that 71 is trying to do the same thing the 81's trying to do.
The 81 of Susi still being patient, still being calm, but he knows that black traffic is up ahead, and he knows that could be a factor into what happens next. Joshua Gaiman, last time around, there was a second between him and Susi. This time around, as they cross the timing spot, it will be about a second between Susi and Gaiman. So Gaiman is starting to catch up. Caitlin Height, 1.7 seconds. She might be fading a little bit, but this black traffic could come and be a savior.
And remember, Henderson, Smeal, Dotson, Frazier, all that little train right there, all for position all for position in the battle they're fighting. So no incentive as they have a right to fight and stand the lead lap, and in turn have a right to fight for their positions just in case they may need them when it comes playoff time. You do not want to lose 1 point here, letting, let's say, Sosi go and maybe make the deal between making the playoffs or not. So right now, Sosi's going to have nowhere to fly right now, as it's just pretty much pandemonium. Frazier, the 71 of Sharp will lock up a bit. That will open the door for the 81 to get clear, but now going to be a wedge between Gaiman and Sosi.
Definitely going to be a wedge that could effectively give the win to the 81. The 71's a competitor. We know she's not going to give up. So that could ultimately play in Susi's favor if she continues to fight and he stays in front of her. That could be the pass for the win.
That could be, but right now you can see the 57 of Frazier and the 31 of Dotson still side by side for the S's, which is what you do not want to see when you're the leader. 2 cars side by side. It could be Carmen. Look at Gaiman, the run he's got. You can see Dotson going to check out, going to get out of the way. Gaiman, Height have new life because of this, and they are going to be in the show as Gaiman made a great lunge on Frazier as well. Alyssa Peltier-Sharp, I should say, made a great lunge, and now Gaiman and Sosi have a buffer to Height.
Now watch the 71 and 3. They had some bad blood earlier in this race where they were making contact with one another. It looked like the 71 was purposely blocking the 3 from catching up to the first 2. So the 81 and the 33. So I'm really going to be curious now what happens on this next backstretch with 6 to go at this juncture. I'm going to see what's curiously happens in the S's as the 71 and 3 get closer together.
Look how close Gaiman got through that corner right there. Sosi keeping it calm, keeping it cool, but he can probably start feeling at least a little bit of the pressure. But being a champion of this series, you got to be able to keep it cool and calm when you need to. And right now he's doing that job, but Gaiman really trying to find whatever he can do. You can see him mounting the curbs, trying something to get a little extra tenth to to maybe get a run on this 81 down the long straight in a couple corners here.
The 81-33 continuing to fight. The 57 in the mix. The 57's not looking at any opportunity to go away here. The 33 is aggressively driving as best he can, looking for any room as it looks like the 17 spins in front of him. The 25 Henderson spins in front of him. No damage though. We're going to continue to run with the 81, who's going to get around the 8 and the 57 in turn number 1. How will the 8 affect the momentum of the 33?
Gaiman had to get on the brakes a little bit there, not knowing what the 8 was going to do. 8 will concede out here, not going to want to hold it up, knowing that sometimes it's better to be chivalrous. The 3 will also follow suit as well. Last car separated between Sosi and the field here is Frazier. After that, it's going to be smooth sailing for Sosi. Gaiman right now is telling if he could that 57, hang on, hold it up. Don't try to let go here. Give me at least a chance to fight with 5 coming to 4 to go this time by.
Hold on loosely and don't let go. That is the name of the game as Susie now makes the big move around the 57. The 33 will follow suit and the battle continues. 4 to go when we get to the start-finish line. Susie in the lead. Gaiman has got to make up some time in a hurry if he wants to win this race. And now the 3 of Caitlin Height, kind of like watching to see what those two do. Which one makes a mistake first if she can capitalize on the 81 and 33.
You got to remember as well, look at the playoff situation as well, just to kind of go. Gaiman is right now 24 above the cut line. Josh Sosi having 3 wins. A 4th would just give him more comfort in the regular season. Gaiman knowing, hey, I may need a win just in case things go south in the next 5 races. Give myself reprieve. We'll see how aggressive Gaiman will be here to get that win. They will catch one more car. It's Richard Odie, but Odie will not play a factor here. He will pull off the way like he's done the past couple laps, presumably. So it's going to be Gaiman having to find whatever he can do to get around that 81 and have to conserve these tires. You can see Odie get low here. 3 laps to go. It's Sosi, Gaiman, Height at the line, and it looks like it's going to be a race between these two, for one of them is going to get the checkered flag.
One of them's going to walk away with the checker flag. Gaiman wants it, but Susie may not give it up to him. Susie may have the advantage. Now look who's in the mix as well. The 3 of Caitlin Height is now just a couple car lengths away from the 33. We are 3 to go, and the race has not let up yet. It is still Susie, Gaiman, Height, any one of them. One mistake by one of those 3, and it could spell calamity for the end of the rest of their race tonight.
Yeah, one mistake, one spin. Could you look at Gaiman trying to launch saw a hole? Did not want to wait. Gaiman, that's what he's going to do with 3 to go, coming to 2 to go. You got to keep an eye on what it will do on the white flag lap. Gaiman a little loose there. That's going to cost some time down the long straight. 2 laps to go.
That could have been the move that gave up the race. We'll have to see how aggressive Gaiman wants to be. Like you said, he's not locked into the playoffs. He's just above the cut line. He needs to have a great race here, but he may end up giving it away if he cannot get control of that 33 car. Slowing up, here comes the 3 behind him, the 33. Now it's to do a little bit of defensive driving as he does everything he can through the S-turns to get back to the bumper, the 81.
He's going to have to re-gear up, re-get on it. This lap is Benjamin a throwaway. Just get back to 81's bumper and try one more time. Problem is, the ideal passing spot is the last corner and the first corner. So he's going to have maybe one more attempt at that first corner, obviously for the last lap, and one on the last. Trying to check up, do it over, under. Can't get it done as he comes off the last corner here. Sosi looking poised to take the white flag. Can Gaiman or Height make anything happen? White flag at Suzuka. It's Sosi, Gaiman, Height down the long straight.
Sosi's got to defend for one more lap. A little over a mile left before he can claim victory number 4 on his repeat tour, trying to be a back-to-back champion in HTL Cup. Gaiman doing everything he can, trying to make up some time during the S's. It's just not working. Going left, going right, trying to use the curbs for more traction around the turns. The 33 is going to get to about a car length of the 81. Through the last S-turn, doesn't look like the 33 will do it.
We'll see as he comes off the last corner. This is the last opportunity. This is the passing zone. We saw Sosi make moves using this. How aggressive will Gaiman to be? He tried to go a little hard there. Not going to be enough here as they come for the last corner. Gaiman can't get on the quarter panel as they come down the long straight. It's going to be Joshua Sosi, win 4 here at Suzuka. Gaiman another second at a road course, and Caitlin Height 3rd place, as Lady Liberty have been very strong in this second half of the regular season here. as he along with Caitlin Height and she have both been strong masterclasses, have been finishing podiums week in and week out, and definitely putting a staple on why they are threats to be in the championship four in well over 2-3 months' time.
In multiple races, Josh Susie has run that Hello Kitty paint scheme to victory lane 4 times now. 4 times. There's got to be some luck now in that pink car as he wins here at Suzuka Circuit, the first HTL Series race run in Asia. It's got to be a great feeling knowing that you've won 4 times. You are well into the championship chase. And for him, this has got to be a great feeling because, again, this is his repeat season. He's doing everything he can to defend his championship. And with 4 wins, he's definitely has a big leg up on the competition.
It is, and also it's got to feel good winning in the land of Hello Kitty with the Hello Kitty scheme. His daughters must be very thrilled to see that. So we'll see a little bit of a celebration here. Obviously, you're going to see him burn it down here just a little bit here. Game and Height, obviously your top 3. Do not go anywhere. We are going to have the top 3 interviews in a little bit here where we'll hear their thoughts. But overall, very great race. Definitely a less dramatic-filled race like Pocono last week, but very strong performance. I think we'll have the final results here in just a second. So, Joe, let's see what those results look like.
Joshua Susie, your winner unofficially here at Suzuka, his 4th win of the 2024 campaign. Joshua Gaiman in 2nd. Caitlin Height rounds out your top 3. GJ Trout, Eli Sasick, your top 5. Lilac Zier, Pacey Wygant, Martin Roberg, Selena Thompson, and Shad Swatsworth round out your top 10. Kevin?
As you can see in the background there, Joshua Susie doing a Polish victory lap on a road course. Don't see that very often. Moving further down the field, though, Jeremy Braille, Ruby Nekamata, Matthew Pooh, Dustin Hall, and Robert Clavelli get the 11th to 15th spots. Dean Clavitt, Lily Frazier, DeMonte Dodson, Josh Arnold, and David Smeal round out 16th through 20th. Lily Frazier, first one down. Try to get back on the lead lap, but just couldn't there late on. Meredith, Henderson, Denny, Aberson, Sharp, 21 through 25. 1 down. Sharp, obviously 2 down. After stage 2, it was pretty much game over for her. Gibney, Pendell, Odie, Withers, Ellis, 26 to 30. Most of those were retirements, and the rest of the retirements here with Mongold, 31st, Hunter Peach, 32nd, and Tommy Reynolds, 33rd, with both Peach and Reynolds not taking the flag here tonight at Suzuka.
So coming up, we will talk to your top 3 finishers. Let's go ahead and start with our 3rd place finisher, Kevin. I believe you caught up with Caitlin Height.
Yeah, I pulled her in here in P3. Caitlin, how are you right now?
Sweaty. Just sweaty. Yeah.
Well, it could get very hot in the virtual cockpit and also in real life as well, so hopefully it's not too hot where you are. Let's talk about the race, though, obviously, as we bring you in here to talk about those things. Overall, we saw in Stage 1, as you raced on there, you definitely had a strong car there, and in Stage 2 as well. So how did you feel with that car around this road course? Did it feel planted?
For me, personally, the car felt amazing in the first half of the lap. And then it just sort of fell away from me in the second half of it, like the final 3 corners or so, and of course the critical final corner, which sets you up for that down towards turn 1 there. I just couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong from practice into the race, but I was absolutely sailing it into turn 1, and it felt great through there. Conditions and traffic were tricky, but we all sort of figured that would be the case once qualifying came around. And yeah, I mean, other than all that, just it was fun to drive. It was fun to drive, not really that great to race.
Moving on, obviously at the end of stage, the end of stage 2, started stage 3. Obviously, you got in that little, I wouldn't say collision, but you got held by Henderson, and then you had to try to make up that 4 seconds. So take us through that mindset in that final stage. What did you have to do to try to get back up to that spot to catch Gaiman and Sosi?
Well, I was just getting stuck behind Blake cost me, as you saw, all that time, and I just sort of had to put my head down and just try and dig for lap times. I could tell I was slowly closing up, and I needed just a little bit of help with maybe traffic getting in their way or something, but it just, once they would get past a car, then it would take me maybe a lap. And in my head, I was sort of thinking, okay, do I want to try a different strategy? Do I want to try 4 tires or 2? I just sort of stuck with the no tire call and just tried to see if I couldn't race it out, which in the end, there I came up short.
Yeah, you can see, but you did put up a great effort in a third place effort, I should say. But overall, nothing to be too ashamed about. Obviously, as we move on through the calendar here and the season slowly comes to a close, we are moving on next week to, let me just confirm where we are next week. We are heading to Michigan. So, thoughts on Michigan as a track, and do you think it's a track where we can see you get win 2 on the year?
It was Michigan in season 3 was actually my first official HTL win, which I love Michigan, sort of the uh same sort of driving style as I think with Auto Club, just a little bit faster because of the banking, but it's a fun track. Hopefully, the field can have a lot of green runs, green stops, and not sort of be hindered by late race shenanigans. But it was, or it is, another track that I really like to drive on.
Well, obviously, as you probably know the deal by now, Caitlin, if there's anyone, thank family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Big shout out to Lady Liberty and Valfreya. We really put on a pretty good performance. Team wise, with the top 3 just being swept by us. Want to thank the HTL admins for putting all this together. Carmen and Kristina in the ABN booth, and both creating ABN, and both of you guys in the announcers booth there. Want to also thank Callie, Lexi, Emily, again, Kristina, all the dolls back at the shop. And this body armor that I just drank about half of during one of the questions.
Well, it's been great talk. You obviously used that drink to body armor to get yourself hydrated back up after a sweaty drive. But you take care and you have a good rest of your week.
All right, thank you.
And that was our third place finisher, and we'll move on quite nicely to our second place finisher, who I think Joe has flagged down.
Joshua Gaiman finishing second in the 33 Marconi Speed Shop machine. Josh, I know that's going to be a rough one for you. Break it down for me. Where'd you guys fall short?
I mean, I was thinking maybe I probably should have taken 4 on that first pit stop I made, but I wanted the track position, obviously, and wanted to keep up um, with where I was on track, and that was definitely, in my opinion, the right move. Could I have had a little bit more tire at the end? Sure, but I mean, a second place is a second place, and getting the race, sister teammates, kind of, all the way through the race pretty much from start to finish was a blast. I mean, I started dead last, so I cannot complain about a second place finish for sure. I think I was up to 8th or something like that at the end of the first stage, so it was just it was a good race all over.
You mentioned pit strategy there, and I want to revisit that for a second. You were on a pit strategy that was different from everybody else. Do you credit that as giving you for second place, or do you feel like it hurt you in the end that had you been on a different strategy, you could have finished this race in P1?
Yeah, I think if I had a little bit extra tire there at the end, in hindsight, definitely would have helped. The left front just started to go, and it was getting really hard to turn the car on that last corner there. It was definitely a trouble corner throughout the race for me. Just getting off that corner was really rough. So yeah, I think if I could have taken tires or would have taken tires, it would have worked out better for me. But I mean, I was right there at the end and still couldn't do it. So it is what it is.
Going into this race, you were on the bubble for the playoff position. Tonight, with a second place, you'll do very well to improve your position. But does it worry you at all that right now you could be on the outside looking in without a win?
Yeah, not having a win definitely sucks. I'm not used to not having a win going into the playoffs like this, and I'm doing it in 2 different series right now. So it's definitely been a rough year so far, but keeping my head up going into each race and just trying to get as much, as many laps as I can. I run a ton of series, so it's tough to practice ahead of time. But just getting the laps where I can, and just going into it, with a positive attitude as best I can.
Last question. 4 tracks in the next 5 weeks: Michigan, Talladega, Rockingham, and the double at Daytona. Do you feel like one of those is going to be the breakthrough where you get the win?
That Daytona road course was going pretty well for me last season. And just got, I got drove over. There's no other way to look at it really. And I think I still finished in like the top 5 or 10 or something like that. That one's definitely going to be interesting. Last Friday I got a win at Daytona in another league, so maybe there will be some luck on the big track. I like Rockingham, so who knows? Maybe there. I don't know. There's a lot of fun tracks coming up with a lot of opportunities, so we'll see.
Out of time, Joshua. Who makes it work for you?
Yeah, McConaughey Setup Shop. Shout out 213 Simware, W Energy. Shout out Valpreia Motorsports, and the HTL guys for putting this on. It's been an absolute blast. As much as there's been frustration and all that, it's still really fun at the end of the day. And y'all for putting on this broadcast.
Joshua Gaiman finishing second tonight in the 33 machine. Kevin Young's caught up with your winner.
And we're talking to Joshua Sosi here, our race winner. He keeps finding his way back here, and he had a dominating performance, a staple that you could say that shows why he is a defending champion. Josh, how are you?
I'm pretty worn out, to be honest with you, mentally and physically.
All right. Well, obviously, we heard that complaint up and down the garage here, but we'll ask kind of in the first question here. We saw your car was basically qualifying pole position, and you flexed that muscle early as you were dominating out there. So I'll ask, what was the key to success around here, keeping that car planted on the track, and in turn, what made this track so physically and mentally demanding?
Well, I think the key to the success was the last corner. I was just hitting better than everyone else for whatever reason, and I had that figured out, and that was a real big part because anywhere else on the track, it's super, super hard to pass. And a couple times that I needed to make a pass to reacquire the lead was coming out of the final corner, and so that was huge. And just kind of a narrow track, and even if you get under someone on the S's, you lose your advantage in the next corner, and it's very rhythm based. You can't miss your mark, so you're like full focus every single lap. You got to push it into one without overstepping it, and just about all the corners, it's almost to that limit to make speed. So you're just you're full tilt, full focus the whole time. I mean, in a lot of tracks you can run 90% for most of the race and pick it up at the end, and I felt like here, if you weren't doing like 95 plus right from the get-go, it just wasn't happening.
Moving further on our questionnaire list, obviously you came out, you pulled the strategy, you gained the track position, and we saw at the end of stage 2, you had to make that move on game in through those last corner, and we saw that last corner was really your sweet spot to making passes. So I guess kind of a two-part question, I guess a quick question here. Actually, no, we'll actually go, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. We'll go with the main question here is that after you got around game and got around the pit strategy here, how was that lap traffic in front of you? What was playing that factor in there? Because we saw you catch a lot of heavy lap traffic.
It was just trying to keep my cool while maintaining position as best I could. I had a decent gap on Josh and Caitlin, and I knew once, especially, I think it was we'd just taken 10 to go or so, and I caught up to like a group of 6 cars, and I just knew immediately that was gonna kill anything I'd picked up. So I was trying to be smart. I think I only had to like lay the bumper once, and it was just a little tap, like, "Come on, get out of the way. I'm battling for the win here." And shout out to most of the lap traffic, especially the people that weren't really competitive. They just usually straight up got out of the way, so that was awesome to see. But yeah, it was trying to be in a good defensive position, not missing your line, and then taking advantage of putting pressure on the people that were still battling for position themselves, while also trying not to force anything.
Well, obviously, as we move on here, obviously, great win as well. Obviously, with 4 rounds to go here and closing, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays because with 4 rounds to go with Michigan next week, you obviously poised to make the playoffs. Let's start there. But with Michigan next week, do you think it's a track that you can maybe get win number 5 at? And in turn, how are you feeling as out of the playoffs? Just kind of not that far away. How is your mindset with those playoffs? Do you think you'll be just as strong in the playoffs as you are in the regular season?
I mean, you hope so, right? But we saw what happened to me last year in the playoffs. I almost got cut twice. If it wasn't for regular season bonus points and playoff points accumulated, that would have happened. So it's a whole new ball game once you get to the playoffs. You know, everything resets, and that's why it's so important right now. I was kind of debating on trying to take the stage wins, but the end goal was for the race win, get those playoff points. And I was in position, obviously, to win stage 1 and 2, but those 2 points wasn't going to outweigh what I was going to lose. It was so hard to pass here. I'd rather have the win playoff points. So Michigan, I'd say top 5. Last year I won it, so I got a good track record. It's a drafty track. I'm not a huge fan, but I always seem to do well. So just take care of the right front, and hopefully similar result to last season, if not a top 10, and pick up some stage points. I had to sacrifice those as well with the short pit strat, but the road course, the end goal is to get the win, and sometimes there's some things you need to sacrifice to be in position for that.
Well, obviously it is ABN tradition. If there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Nitro Setups. Go get your setups. All things NASCAR. Big shout out to everyone on Lady Liberty and Valfreya. Huge shout out to Gaiman and Caitlin. That was a hell of a battle. Very respectable. And we were just laying lap times on top of each other. Like, any one of the 3 of us could have won that race with the right positioning. You saw when I was stuck behind Gaiman, I had to work him over for, I felt like 15 laps to finally get the proper corner entry on the final corner to get under. But yeah, put any one of the 3 of us in the front, and that very easily could have been the winner. So great race, great to get a 1, 2, 3. Big shout out to Selena getting a 9th, Ruby getting a 12th, and I feel like we're picking up momentum and peaking. Hopefully not too soon, but coming to the playoffs, it's all about maintaining that points lead and getting as many playoff points as possible. So as of right now, the game plan is going according to plan, and we'll show up for Michigan next week and see what we could do. I want to thank you guys for wonderful broadcast. I know Gaiman was listening to it while he races. I have no idea how he does that, but he was liking the analogies and the strat calls and everything. So I can't wait to go back and watch it. And I hope to talk to you again next week. We'll see what happens.
All right, great talk. Obviously, I think we talked for the end of the season at least once, but regardless of that, you take care, Joshua, and you have a good rest of the week.
You too. Thank you.
And that was our first place finisher there, Josh Sosi, celebrating a big win here in Suzuka. Joe, let's hear your final thoughts about tonight and maybe get us ready for the sign-off.
Tonight was a lot of fun racing here at Suzuka Raceway, Suzuka Circuit, if you will. Great way to finish the race. Great way to put a cap towards the remainder of the season. Remember, 5 races left to go. You won't want to miss any of the action live right here on ABN1. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being a part of our audience. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Kevin Young, and the lady who brings it all together, Christy Ryan, my name is Joe Cortez. Thank you so much. We will see you next week when we go racing from the high banks of Michigan here in the HTL Cup Series. Good night, everybody.